thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Tommy, don't even start a podcast intro to me until I've had my morning coffee.
That was going to be my very first question. It said you had your morning coffee yet.
Well, just wait a second.
There goes the first sip.
Okay.
Now he can talk.
Now we can podcast. I've had at least the start of my morning coffee.
Here we go.
It's official. We can get going here.
All right.
This was unplanned. We both came with coffee mugs, though.
That's right.
It's just going to be an episode of us sipping coffee.
Just lots of sips back and forth going,
yes. A special episode. We are recording in the AM. It is AM here in local Western Northeast South Dakota.
This is almost as rare as an eclipse occurrence right now.
And are those rare?
Well, to a certain specification they are. I don't follow it enough. But yes, they are to a certain extent. I'm just not sure what extent that is.
Yeah, they always seem less rare than what they're hyped to be. It's like wasn't there one like last month? There's not one again until the year 2076, and then it's all of a sudden it's 2025, and you're like, yeah, there's two this year actually. Our math was off. There's two more eclipses. This is episode 419 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. We have a lot of topics today. And we're probably just not even going to get to them all.
We have a lot, which means we're not going to cover them. No, actually, this week we do have a lot because last week we did a call-in show, which meant we didn't cover any of our items.
Topics.
So we sort of have almost 3 weeks of backlog that we're sitting on. So there is a lot to cover this week.
And I don't want to say what it is, but this episode comes out. So this episode will air on, just checking dates, the 15th, 14th, 15th of April, coming April 18th, which would be the Thursday that this comes out. We have our very big drop coming. We're not going to release anything of this, but we're releasing a product that will change the game.
Our lips are sealed. You'll have to be on the lookout.
Playing this one pretty close, but if I was to use one singular word to describe it, it's going to be big. Mm-hmm. Hashtag Justin Timberlake. It's going to be big. Breaking news, though, Tommy. The juice is no longer loose. Did you see O.J. Simpson just died?
Really?
I just got a notification on my phone. That
really?
Juice is not loose. That was breaking news right as we're recording.
I got to check this out. Wow. That's
76, cancer.
Cancer. I had no idea. 76. I also didn't realize he was that old, but yeah, I mean, kind of makes sense. Wow. Quite the life that man lived. I won't make any more comments on it than that, but quite the life.
Not to get too political, Tommy, but O.J. Simpson, innocent or guilty?
Well, he wrote a book called If I Did It, so very odd choice of a title.
Yeah. So no more O.J. Simpson, whatever that means.
Okay. Have you ever seen the? Is it? I don't know if it's a 30 for 30 or what it is, but there's actually a documentary. It's like a 3-part thing about OJ and like him coming into popular culture. Yep. Okay, that is really well done. I totally honest, didn't know much about OJ other than he played football and murdered someone or something. Like that was, and then he was in like some funny movies when I was a kid, the Naked Gun movies. That was my extent of OJ growing up, or my knowledge of him. And watching that documentary, it was that it's a good documentary. People should watch that one.
I think also at the time, he was maybe the best running back that there had been too, at least to a certain point in time. You know, he was up there with, I suppose, Jim Brown and stuff, but like, he was kind of, it's easy to lose sight of that now. If you're like our age, all you remember of O.J. Simpson really is like
the murder trial. That's all. That's all I ever.
Right.
Yeah. That was.
But it would be like if I don't know.
Just any big name person now. But like now it's different because there's so many big name sports people.
Right.
He was one of the first people to really cross over into movies and pop culture and all of that.
Right.
That
But
wasn't.
who would be a good example though? That like, would it be like if they were now like they murdered someone tomorrow and were on the news all of the time?
Well, I'm trying to
I don't
remember though.
know
Was
the
he
example.
still?
It has to be someone that's been retired for a bit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, because I think of like running backs that have been retired for a little bit that were really good, but none of them are like famous enough.
No,
'Cause
people
I'm
don't.
Like,
Well, that's
if
the problem.
it's like LaDainian Tomlinson murdered someone, most people would be like, "Who is LaDainian Tomlinson?" Although he was exceptionally good at the running back position.
But even someone you could say Adrian Peterson or something too. But they never crossed over into pop culture the way that OJ did. So that he is in a unique position there. I don't know, Aaron Rodgers maybe.
Right.
Someone that sort of
Aaron
crosses
Rodgers.
over.
Yeah. That seems almost somewhat believable.
Yeah.
That seems a little too believable, maybe.
Yeah, a little too close. You heard it here first.
Yeah. We do have an exciting episode. We're going to get old friend of the podcast, Basement Brandon, is going to be coming on this week. So that'll be interesting. That'll be fun. Is there anywhere you wanted to start? I wanted to start with the OJ. I wanted to start with our morning coffee. Of
we
course,
should probably
because
also
nothing
start
happens
with a little message from our sponsors.
Oh my God. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. You're right. First, I want to tell everyone that this episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Build Fast Formula. I want to lead with the exciting part this week on Build Fast Formula. You can use discount code Massenomics on their site, and it'll save 10% on literally anything you want to buy from them. You could buy, there's no limit. I don't think there's a cap. You could buy $10,000 worth of supplements and save $1,000.
Now, when you say it like that, you really can't afford not to.
You know, this code could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars if played right.
It's almost free money.
Yeah. Check out buildfastformula.com is where you go. And today I want to talk about VasoBlitz, their dual nitric oxide support supplement. VasoBlitz contains your daily dose of nitric oxide stimulants designed to amplify your pump, endurance, strength, and muscle recovery. Go back and listen to our episode with Chris Duffin, and we talk about VasoBlitz actually in quite a bit of depth. But our friends out of Watertown, South Dakota, the Thomases, please go support Build Fast Formula and remember to use discount code Massenomics.
You'd think while you're reading that ad, I would have the.
You had a lot of other stuff.
I had a lot of stuff to do, like make sure all
a lot
these
of
buttons
O.J.
are-
Simpson stuff going through your mind. Like, was he innocent or
Still
was he
thinking
guilty?
about him in the Naked Gun movies. I just can't get over it. This episode is also brought to you by Bearfoot Shoes. Most shoes harm your mobility by over-restricting your foot's natural movement, but Bearfoot Shoes are designed with minimal restrictions so your feet can move the way they're supposed to. Move with more strength and confidence in every step. Bearfoot Shoes was also founded by Chris Duffin, who was mentioned in the previous ad read, kind of a big Chris Duffin podcast over here. And Chris Duffin attributes proper foot biomechanics as foundational to his success in squatting and deadlifting over 1,000 pounds for reps. He helped create the company to provide a minimalist shoe that can be worn for anything from deadlifts to walking your dog. Go to www.barefoot.store to check out the best minimalist shoes available. And while you're there, make sure to use code Massenomics to save 10% on your next order. That's code Massenomics, barefoot.store, saves you 10%. Thank you, Bearfoot Shoes.
Tommy, without thinking about it for more than just 2 seconds, what year do you think O.J. Simpson was born?
Well, I mean, it'd have to be like in the 40s, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 1947.
Yeah, okay.
He was born just shortly at the end of World War II.
Which is wild. That's
Yeah.
But that seems so old, but at the same time, isn't that how old Nick Saban is? And he just quit coaching?
Oh, probably. Yeah, probably.
Which is also insane that someone can be that old and hold up to the stresses of college football year after year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess he couldn't hold up. He finally quit.
I'm getting too old for
Couldn't
this
even win a
shit.
national championship this year.
Hang it up, old man.
Yeah. All right. What do we want to talk about first? You had a little trip that you took.
Yeah.
You wanna
Okay.
talk about that?
Maybe I'll talk about that for a minute. Yes. So I won't go super in depth on all the details because we do have a video about this coming, but with
A YouTube video on our YouTube
Yes,
channel.
a YouTube
Please go
video.
subscribe.
Big Grant, owner of the Strength Co., his barbell manufacturer is out of Minnesota, and it just happens to be just down the road from me here. And we had talked for a while that he wanted some updated new photos of his barbells to go on his website, and it seemed a lot easier for me to just make the quick little drive over there than it would be to ship all of those at my house and then have all of these barbells sitting here and figuring out what the hell I'm going to do with them. So I made the trip over, and I won't go too much into the behind the scenes talk of who's who and all that, but great people over there. Who. They were awesome, and they were familiar with Massenomics, which makes it cool. And
you got a lot of fun inside.
I got so much insight because this company just does white labeling. They make barbells for. There's a good chance any gym you've been to in America, you've probably held their barbells before,
right?
And so just hearing the inside scoop, these guys have been involved in so many things in the industry for so long. Actually, the founder of the company invented Power Block in the early 90s. So the dad of the group, he has so much industry knowledge and experience. So it was so cool getting to hear all their stories and connections. And they work with several other influencers in the industry. I got to see their warehousing. I just got so much behind the scenes look at all this stuff. It was really cool. But then finally, I did get to tour their actual barbell manufacturing facility, and
where the magic happens.
Where the magic actually happens, and I never really understood how it worked. I mean, I get it at a high level. You know, you get a piece of metal and you put it in a thing.
The stork comes. The barbell stork
drops it off, and it's
the barbells.
You're ready to go lift. But yeah, so to see how actually the shaft comes in and the knurling goes on and the collars and the sleeves are all put together, and talking about the coding process and all. It was really, really cool to see it all. Like I said, they actually convinced him into doing a little tour of their barbell facility for us. So we get the behind the scenes look. This will go on the Massenomics YouTube, where they give us a high level overview of how the barbell process actually works and then how it's assembled, all of that. They were cautious a few times, like, I don't know. We probably don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce. And they're like, if someone's stupid enough to do this, I guess that's their problem. At a certain point,
that's a funny thought. Yeah, like who's gonna be like, now I can open up an enormous factory.
I'm gonna open up an industrial shop, buy many CNC machines, lathes, get the crews to work on this around the clock, figure out how to source the steel, do this whole thing, figure out my coatings, do all of that, and then at the end of the day, find some clients to sell them to. Yeah, they're like, if you're stupid enough to think that you want to do that, then we can't stop you. That's your problem.
But is it at all like touring the hot dog factory? How now you'll never want to touch a barbell again?
Actually, if anything, it made me appreciate them even more. It was like fine art appreciation. You know, at first you're like, these things are cool, whatever. But then once you really know the ins and outs, now you really appreciate it. So
yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, so it was a good trip. I had a lot of fun. They even mentioned that the owners, there's a good chance they'll be at Home Gym Con, so we might run into them there. You might actually get to meet them too, Tanner.
What town are they from?
Owatonna.
Did you see that? This is completely unnecessary to be on the podcast, but I have forgotten about it until just now. Did you see that order came in this week that had a weird order? Okay, that was you, right? Not me.
It was one of the guys. Yes, it was one of the guys.
It was one of the guys.
Well, I'm assuming it was one of the employees because he had made the note like, "I missed you when you were here. Love what you do."
I could have included something in there or something maybe, but
I figured I did see that one come in. And I was gonna message you about it. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
But the impression I got there was because that wasn't anyone I met. I got the impression that was an employee that works there. They didn't happen to be there on the day we got there,
but they knew Massenomics.
They knew Massenomics, so they were. But the other guys all knew Massenomics too, which was cool. To walk into somewhere and be like, hey, we kind of all know each other. We're on the same page right off the bat here.
Yeah. That is pretty cool then, huh?
Yeah. So that video will probably be coming. I mean, the content pipeline is just so jammed packed right now. We're probably a month out before that video appears.
You're kind of, that's like you said that like a joke, but it's also kind of true. We have we have a lot of YouTube content to get out. What did we post last week on YouTube? What was last week's video? Was that the gym tour?
It was the gym tour, wasn't it?
Gym tour, yeah. Gym tour. Great video. Make sure to go check out the Massenomics gym tour. That one's as good as ever, of course. And then at the time this comes out, you should be able to check out Tommy's home gym tour. That's the next one coming out here. So don't miss that one.
Got a quick turnaround. Got to get this podcast wrapped up so I can film that one today.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I wanted to mention Leroy Jenkins.
Oh yeah, what's going on with that?
I posted, there's this Leroy Jenkins meme that this is the second time I posted it, where it's it's the Leroy Jenkins clip, and the caption I put over it is just like, hey, what is the caption I use? It's me when I'm not planning on maxing out deadlifts today, but then I do max out whatever, it's a more concise way of saying that. And it's basically just like him screaming Leroy Jenkins, and you're saying, fuck it, I'm maxing out.
Yep.
And that one goes pretty viral every time. This time it particularly did. I don't know what
did it really? Oh, I never
yeah,
looked.
it
I mean, I always catch it right away, and I never go back and look.
I guess I would be somewhat curious. It's so far back now. It takes a while to even find where it is, but it's still like one of the number one things showing up in my notifications right now. Yeah, so it's got 870,000 views.
Wow.
125,000, whatever. It's got just about 1 million views. It'll probably go over, that one will probably go over 1 million.
Yeah, but the 125,000 likes, that is a lot. Wow, 243 comments too.
But the thing about that is I did not know this. I was like, not today years old. I also don't like that saying in particular, but like I was like a month ago years old when I learned that. And you might already know this. I didn't know this, or maybe this will be new news to you. That was staged.
Oh, it was?
That was staged. That was paid for by some company.
Really?
Yes.
So it was old internet viral marketing.
Yes, it was. And did you know that was a staged clip?
No,
like,
I thought you were going to say.
Heard that
I thought you were going to say. I didn't realize this, but that's from the video game World of Warcraft. I was going to be like, "Whoa, Tanner, what? Where have you been?"
That almost could be something I would say. I don't think I'd make that big. I could see me not knowing that, but I wouldn't like make such a big deal.
It's actually not a movie. It's from a game.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I did not know that was staged. That's news to me.
So then the sub rumor was that, oh no, it did originally, it happened organically once, and it was so good that then they had to recreate it. But I think it came out that was false.
Interesting.
That it is just like, and I'm like, damn, that's pretty well done. That back then
that goes down and as a real piece of early internet lore and viral marketing. Then I never realized that.
Yeah. Leroy Jenkins.
Wow.
I just wanted to touch on the Leroy Jenkins thing because it was particularly. I was just like, that kind of blew my mind that wasn't real. Like, it feels real.
You kind of sort of did the Santa Claus thing where all of a sudden I had this vision of this thing being real, and you ruined it for me.
It does ruin it a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
I think, unfortunately.
I'd be careful who you tell that to going forward.
Yeah. I do have a coffee hot take. I don't know if we want to get to that now. I'm curious what you wrote. You wrote 5x3 in there, and I'm very curious what that is.
Okay, well, get into your coffee hot take, and then I'll do my 5x3. Unless you want to flip that order.
I'm pretty curious about what the 5x3 is.
So I have been all right.
My coffee hot take could be discussed.
Okay, 5x3. So this is actually I was just talking about Grant. This is related. I've been catching up on some episodes of the OK podcast.
Okay.
And I know I could ask Grant directly and get this answer in 2 seconds, but I was curious how knowledgeable you are on this subject. So I'll be the first to admit I'm not a starting strength guy. I don't know much about starting strength other than hearing people talk about it. I believe you've read the book, though, haven't you?
I've read the blue book.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I've read the blue book cover to cover. I mean, it's been...
With the... It's been a while.
It has been, you did
been a
like
while,
over
but
10 years ago, haven't you?
Probably, yeah. And I've looked at the blue book. I've referenced it for certain things before, or I have a copy of it at the gym, and like some people that start, I'll show, have in the book because it does a good job at least explaining a way to do the lifts.
Yes.
That's like fairly concise and fairly easy to understand. So there's some certain benefits to that, especially for people that are just starting out.
Yes, correct. Okay. What I didn't understand, and maybe it's where Grant and Trey are at in their training, but I heard them mention multiple times on a recent episode 5x3 for squats. Is that what it is for starting strength, or is it 5x5? I always thought starting strength was 5 sets of 5 everything. Or is it 5 sets of 3, or are they just in a more advanced spot in the programming?
I don't know how to answer that for sure. When I say I don't know how to answer that is I don't know the answer to the question, actually.
Okay. But do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
in my head,
like fives is
in
the
my
thing,
head. I know like the whole thing, and like to where people laugh about starting strength is like the answer is just always fives. You know, let's do your fives. It's fives.
Big Jeff has done starting strength before, and he said 3 sets of 5.
Wow. Okay. I always thought starting strength's whole thing was 5 sets of 5. I thought that was like the built-in rep scheme was 5 sets of 5.
Well, and I think it gets confusing because I don't know if anyone listening knows, but Mark Ripto's coach he pulled some of what he does from him, and he has other programming, and some people merge the two between Rip's coach and
Okay, but based off of what Jeff is saying here and what I heard Grant say,
yeah, he's saying 3 sets of 5.
3 sets of 5. So the default, it sounds like then the default kind of rep scheme in starting strength is like 3 sets of 5.
But you said 5 by 3.
No, I would. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I meant 3 sets of 5. I was trying to say 3 sets of 5 reps.
Okay, so you're saying 3 sets of 5.
Yes, 3 sets of 5.
That actually brings up a subtopic. Is sometimes people lift. We've probably talked about this.
I think we have. How do you say that?
I just rewrote it differently. So this is what you mean, right? 3x5, 3 sets of 5 reps.
Yeah, 3 sets of 5 reps. Did I put 5x3 in Asana?
Yeah, 5x3.
Okay. That's just me writing really quick on my phone while I'm trying to do something.
But some people do write it that way.
No, you always do sets. The sets number goes first. You go general to specific. Yes, you go.
That's
sets,
right.
Yes, 5 sets of 3s, 5 by 3. You don't say 5 sets of 3, but put it as 3 by 5. No, that's not correct.
You and I certainly agree on that. I think that there's no question in our mind, but I think some other people say that differently.
So when some people say 3 by 5,
some people write that the other way. Which I think is wrong.
Yeah,
I would completely
agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
but anyways, I guess my takeaway is what I was so shocked by, because all of my life I've always thought the default rep scheme was 5 sets of 5 with starting strength. So when I saw 3 sets of 5, I heard those guys talking about 3 sets of 5. There's nothing wrong with that rep scheme, like that I encounter that occasionally in my training. But what shocked me is that volume seems so low. That's what surprised me. I
do think though that you're squatting like every day that you come into the gym. So
you do squat.
The weekly volume isn't low because I think, and here again, I just don't know. I don't remember I never really liked it that much for the programming.
Yeah.
I just liked I like it for the explanation of the lifts and stuff like that, and like so I don't know, I don't have a handle on the actual programming that well, but I think you're squatting like 3 times a week.
Okay, but that's not that unusual though. Like most programs will have you squatting at least twice a week.
Yeah, that's true too, but you are specifically doing you are doing a low bar back squat 3 times, a low bar barbell back squat 3 times a week. So if you were, in a week you would be doing 9 sets of 5. I think. But
you're talking 45 total reps, which isn't
right. No, it's not crazy.
So that is what surprised me though, because I always think.
But if you're only squatting once a week and doing only 3 sets of 5,
that's not very much
for
volume.
a beginner. That wouldn't be very.
But
much
even
volume.
Deadlift, okay, that's probably fine. Bench though, that doesn't seem. But maybe I guess press covers some of that too, though. But that was what surprised me though, is when I think of beginners. I think you have a capacity for a lot of volume in the beginning because your load is so low.
Right.
I just always assumed that the volume was much higher than that. I thought you were getting at least 25 reps in a session. So then to learn that potentially I've been thinking about this wrong, it's 15 reps. That just surprised me. There's nothing wrong with it. It just caught me off guard. My mental model of what it has been wrong for many, many years now.
But I do think where the confusion is, where I would have that similar confusion where I'm like, is it 5 by 5 or 3 by 5? But I think there's a lot of comparable programming that's very similar to starting strength and even has like similar lineage or roots, but is 5 by 5. And I know there's like Mad Cow 5 by 5 and some other things too. And I think
they said strong lifts, and I've never done that one.
Yeah. But I just think a lot of them come from a similar place to, where they're all like to us, they maybe become interchangeable at a certain point where we can't even tell what's one and what's the other.
Right. Well,
yeah,
that was my revelation.
Yeah. I would think of it. If you would have probably asked me, I would usually think of it as 5 by 5 probably too.
That's what I always thought. I always did.
Yeah.
So I learned something.
Yeah, and what Jeff has done it before. So he said alternate bench and overhead press. I think every time you come to the gym, you do one or the other. And I think deadlifts is only 2 days a week have 1 sets of 5.
That volume seems so low to me.
I would say the jackals that we all did for a long time was a 2x5.
And that was 2x5. And to be honest, that was too low a volume for me. When my deadlift started to go up is when I started to get more volume in, because 2 sets of 5 just wasn't enough.
Right. We had all manipulated jackals so much.
We did. Well, because
I had manipulated jackals in the way that that was what I did for my set deadlifts, but then I did an accessory deadlift after that, and the other day of the week I did a different accessory. So I'm like,
it's funny though, because
it was like manipulating it for more deadlift volume.
It
but
was
still kind of doing it,
Yes, it absolutely was. And it's funny is because we all ran that enough. It was similar. Like, I'm going to say in the way of starting strength is that it's a relatively simple program.
Yeah.
And we ran it in 8-week waves enough for like years on end that you start to realize what does and doesn't work, or you start to see what gets stuck and you're like, well, something's stuck here. I clearly need to do more work to address that. And
that's why we all ended up doing extra deadlift volume.
Volume. And then it's funny because it kind of gets you into some of the spots where Juggernaut wants you to be at anyways. Which is
right. Because really we were actually doing like 2 or 3 variations of deadlifts a week, and we were doing benching, 2 or 3 basically.
Yep, basically.
Then,
you were basically benching.
Yeah.
You were benching at least twice a week. You could make it to bench in 3 weeks.
At least twice a week.
Yep, you're doing a competition squat, and then you were doing like a front squat variation or a safety squat bar variation.
So even though the program on its face might not look like that, it kind of like became that. For
that's what I still laugh about now is my Juggernaut is set up for 3 days a week, and I look at how many of the bones are so similar to that Jackals program in what it's trying to achieve. Where Juggernaut I think differs the most is that Juggernaut is built, the program really is built to want you to be on like a 6-month program.
Right.
Where you can do a real phasic structure with actual volume work into strength work, into real peaking work.
That's kind of the limitation of
an 8-week program.
8-week program or a 12-week program. And especially when I say an 8-week program, literally an Excel sheet that you have this 8-week program, and then you get done with it and you say, okay,
let's start it again.
Do it again. Yeah. And then you just, okay, I'll do it again. And you just keep doing it again forever and
you
ever.
You were treating it almost like linear progression. Like, all right, you just reset this, and then you just, all right, all my numbers went up, so let's bump them all up and do this. And yeah, that worked for years on end to do that.
Right. Yes.
I mean, you had a huge total. I running that program, I got to like over a 1,400 pound total running that program.
Right.
Like it's
basically doing nothing but that, right? Too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like making slow, steady progress like the whole time, basically.
The only thing that wasn't slow and steady was my squat. My squat just went up 50 pounds a year every year for like 4 years, or 3 years.
Right.
It was otherwise everything else was just slow and steady, continued progress.
Yeah. How's your training going now?
Actually really good. I took some videos the other day, home gym life. I got my tripod and all that. And I was going to post these on, I wasn't sure where I was going to post them.
Have you done any Instagram story posts?
Well, that's what I was going to do. Because today is my RP 10 bench day, and I already did my squat, my deadlift day. And training's been, I had some back problems last spring, and then just training wasn't going the best for a long time. And starting in October, things started going really good for me. I just was doing pause squats, 5x5. I was running linear progression where I was adding 10 pounds a week every week. Then I got to the point where I was happy with that. I feel like I hit my pause squat goals and things were feeling good. So I kind of brought it back down and started doing regular squats, building back up. And the first week in my home gym, I had a very mild back tweak, like one that I hadn't had. It was actually hurt on extension. I've never had that in my life, which sucks, but at the same time makes me feel good because I'm like, well, I'm not hurting like an old injury. It's not the same. Like I'm at the point now where different injuries are a moral victory now, which is messed up. But
it's like, thank God it feels different than the other ones.
Yes. So, but that really mentally was a barrier. That sucked. And so it took me a little bit of time. I had a good session last week. Deadlift squat went good. And so this was supposed to be RP 10 week on Juggernaut. And I haven't been hitting like hard weights, so I can't, in my mind, just run into what it would be a true RPE 10 when I haven't been touching that. So for deadlift, I picked my RPE 10 at 355, set of 5, and I rated it like a 6. It was so easy. I really felt like I probably could have done 405. So my deadlift is right back to basically where it was a year ago. It has not missed anything. It maybe even feels better than a year ago. Even a year ago, hinging still kind of hurt my back. Hinging does not hurt my back right now. That does not bug me. So deadlift is feeling great. And then squat was the one that I had a little tweak on my back. So there's just so much anxiety around squatting. And I put on sleeves for the first time in a year, and I put on a belt for the first time in 6 months. And goddamn, it's like, I feels like I'm just squatting on a trampoline all of a sudden. It's like I got springs under me. It's stupid. It's probably mostly mental, but it is stupid.
I don't know. On the squat, I think the belt.
I don't know, man. Sleeves on a squat is just weird to me when I put those things on. I don't know if it's the mental cue of
there's definitely some mental
how I can push into the sleeves. Like it just makes everything feel so tight. And a belt absolutely does help too. No doubt about that. But so then for squat the other day, it was supposed to be an RP 10 day. I took 335 for a set of 6. And I rated that at like a 6.5, a 7. It was so easy. It was so easy. Yeah. And it's more as just I haven't touched weight over 315 in like a year on the squat. So that's what's right. It's just I haven't gone there. But if I can keep staying healthy here, I'm gonna be. And bench has like not dropped off for me. Bench has been pretty. I've been able to keep the intensity and the volume relatively high. So bench, I'm not worried about that. That's kind of where it's always been. But squat and deadlift, if I can just stay healthy, those ones will keep climbing. And I know they can. I know when I'm healthy, they can climb fast, like in a hurry. So that's the goal. Stay healthy, keep these things going.
Maybe there'll be, who knows, maybe something will pop up this summer.
You know, if something were to pop up in a convenient spot, maybe I'd have to throw my hat into the ring and see what happens.
If there was something in a convenient location, you know, particularly fun, the right timing. If you're going to be there anyways.
Like if somehow my juggernaut was set for like, let's just say like 100 days out right now, just to pick a random number and like something happened to be 100 days from now.
Yeah, it could be possible. I could see it.
Yes. How about your it looked like, though, you were hitting the cankle must be building back better.
Yeah. My Build Back Better program is actually feeling pretty decent. I'm using the slant board on squats, and I can't squat flat.
It's still not there.
I mean, I can. It just would look terrible, you know, and like it wouldn't be good for my body to be doing it.
Do you think if you put your lifters on, would that be enough of a difference, or do you still need that additional?
No, it's getting slightly better every week still.
Okay.
But it's going to be like at least a month. It's been over a month since I heard it. I can tell it's going to be at least a month until I don't even know if it'll feel normal in a month yet.
Yeah.
But it is making progress. But what I thought about doing that slant board I have is a 15 degree, and maybe I've discussed this, but
you have different degrees, don't you?
They have the prime one, and they make it in 5 and 10 also. So I thought about buying the 10 and the 5, so that way I could progress away from it.
Funny how that works. That there's just another thing you can buy to help you get strong along the way here.
That's if those weren't so expensive, I probably would have done that already.
Are they all prime? The ones you have right now?
Oh,
damn!
And if so, I buy 2 of them, I'd have like $500 more into it.
That's a lot.
A piece of slanted metal. But I still might, because I do like the idea of progressing away from, you know, of like instead of going from 15 to 0. Go from 15 to 10. So maybe I just buy the 10 because maybe the 5 is close to a lifter.
Maybe you can call them and ask if they can make a 7.5.
To get back to your question, the interesting thing probably, and this is probably splitting hairs, but I prefer wearing my barefoot shoes and standing on the slant board because I do not like the way my feet, especially after wearing barefoot shoes for so long,
feel in other stuff.
My feet feel so crammed in lifters.
I totally get what you're saying.
Like I have
there.
the Audi, you know, I have the whatever.
The same ones I have, the Addy Powers. Yeah.
And I like the way, what I can do as far as like kind of the tripod foot. I really can't do it as well when I'm wearing lifters.
I 100% get it. I have relatively narrow feet. So for me, that's never been much of an issue. But I do get, even in there though, you do feel it way more than you feel it in your barefoot shoes. Like it's not a thing in your barefoot shoes, whereas it is a thing when you have your lifters on.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of where that, but going good. I did, you know, I've been doing.
It looked like you had some monster block pulls the other day.
Yeah. I've been doing block pulls just for the heck of it, you know, just. Well, actually, really, the best reason for block pulls is they do not hurt my ankle at all, essentially. Whereas the deadlift from the floor, it doesn't hurt at this point. It just it's hard to get into the exact normal position that I would be still, because normally my knee comes forward a little bit more than what it would be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going good though. hopefully get that block pull number up just in case something ever pops up there.
You just never know. You always want to be prepared.
Yeah. Those are way easier than deadlifting off the floor, though. Obviously, like that's the case, but it's a different.
Well, especially once you get used to that starting point.
Right.
Like at first, it
there
can
is
feel
a learning curve to get used to it. Yeah.
The few times that I've done block pulls, it just feels so awkward where I'm starting that I've
like
never gotten good at it.
For me, it's like the first rep is relatively more hard than the first rep of a deadlift off the floor because I'm just that much less used to the position. But then once you get going and you're like, oh yeah, like I'll just pop up and
it's like riding a
up
bike
and down with this. Right. Yeah, exactly.
I should say
do a little. Oh, go ahead.
One thing also that I'm doing different, I'm going to try to make an attempt at it here, is I've decided I'm going to go team no mixed grip anymore. I'm doing straps and hook grip going forward.
Yeah.
And
I'm a proponent of that.
Which makes me realize, so I've used straps like 3 times now in the last month, which probably ties my record for the number of times I've used straps in my entire life.
Yeah.
I've never used them. I just don't do it. And I will say it's not rocket science, but I'm not the best at using them. You know,
it takes some time too.
That's what I don't like about it is you kind of got to do the thing where you kneel down and get them positioned and then go. And that's not my deadlift setup. So that's what throws me off a little bit. And then there's always one that feels like it's just a touch tighter than the other. Yeah. And I don't like that feeling either, but that's just rolling with the punches.
But that's why I like when you go, then when you do, most people would think, oh, I could lift more. Maybe they can lift more with straps. But I like when I go to the hook grip, it's almost like a cheat code because then I can set up so much more quickly that the setup feels better.
Yes.
You know, like it feels easier.
Yes.
The setup
and
feels
you're starting from up top and you're going down. You're not stuck down in this crunched ball adjusting things. Our guest is here, but because we're on the topic, we got like 2 minutes still, Tanner. He's early.
Yeah.
Okay. The quick Cliff Notes version of your hook grip guide. You always say, keep the volume low.
Did you refer to it?
I haven't gone back to it yet. I forgot about it until right now. You always say, keep the volume low. You only need 1 or 2 reps, right, a week?
Right.
And then you typically just do it on your last rep or 2 of any given set, right?
Yeah, I like volume low and frequency high. And I think people could do that different ways, but I think that general rule works because the volume low saves your thumb. The frequency high allows you to be able to be decent at it. Like that's what I feel like you need in order for it to not.
You're only saving it for working sets though, aren't you? You're never like doing
what I do is my last warm up. I always take my last warm up as a single, like say it's like 50 pounds. And I do my last warm up hook grip. So that's my 1 rep of the day is my last warm up is usually a hook grip. So that's just 1 rep of a weight that's not heavy, but it's just like, cause I just like the thought of doing it 1 time before the really heavy one. And then, that's what I'll do. Like if I have 3 sets of 5, I'll do the first two sets. I'll wear straps for the entire first 2 sets. And the third set, I'll make a decision to put the straps on and say, do the first 4 reps with the straps and just quickly take the straps off and do the last rep hook grip. So, or sometimes maybe I'll say, I don't know why I do this, but I'll be like, I'm going to do the last 2 reps.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So,
or if maybe you have 1 top set of 3.
Yep.
Like say you're on Juggernaut and you're a top set of 3. I might make the decision. No, today I am going to do
all 3
that hook grip.
Okay.
I can do, but 3 is the limit.
max. All right.
Yeah. For me, that's
in a
like
given day, then
thing.
like you're never going over 4 total reps on hook grip.
Like on average, I'm doing 2 or 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I thought. Is probably like 2.5, and never more than 4.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. And
I think too much more than that. I know for me it screws up my thumbs if I do more than that.
Yes. And then as far as the actual positioning, the other takeaway is don't be afraid to just let that sit lower than what you might think.
That's what I like. Yeah. And maybe that's a personal preference, but
that makes sense to me though. You don't need to bury your thumb into your palm.
I do not feel like you need to bury your thumb in for that.
Okay.
And I feel, for me, I know that that's a secret to it working. Is like to the point where I'm almost like, how could this even work? Like I feel like I'm not grabbing the bar because that's what you have a tendency to want to grab the bar, and you don't
I'm
have
just
to.
Pinching my thumb, and by chance, pinching my thumb happens to bring a bar with it.
Yes, that's what it's like. That's how I think of it. Maybe some other people like to get a deep set into their hand, but I do not like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on how long your fingers are.
And then you also, I feel like this goes without saying, but you also go double overhand as long as you possibly can, right?
I do that.
Yes.
So when I warm
And that's
up,
what I've been doing
basically
too.
all my warm-ups are double overhand, except for my last warm-up, which I do hook grip.
So where do you start getting out of double overhand for you? What's that weight at?
I can do like a set of 5 double overhand with four plates.
Really? Yeah.
But my grip isn't great, but it is good at that one thing. And I don't know if it's just because I've always done it.
Well, definitely that doesn't hurt.
Like
that
I've done like a set of 10 at 405 double overhand before. I can't do that right now, but like, so I could always do 405 double overhand. So sometimes if that's going to be my last warm up, I might even just do double overhand for a rep, then hook grip for a rep too, or something like that. But I always like to do my very last warm up rep with hook grip.
Okay. Wow. Well, actually, no. That makes sense. That's what I've been trying to do too. Is just hang on to double overhand as long as I possibly can, because I do know that my grip is not where it possibly could be. But should we get our guest in here?
Yeah, we'll come to some ads and supporting our sporting members after the guest. Do we got to kick everyone out though, or?
Yes. Yep. I'm kicking them out right now.
Kick out these other freeloaders to get them out of here. Big Brandon, this is your 3rd time on the show. Do you know that?
I've punched my Hall of Fame card 3 times in one spot.
So you did receive your Hall of Fame card.
I did, but I need to do a lot more stuff. I need to visit there. I need to put a pin in the map. I need to do some crew meetups.
I'm wondering if you're not. What do you know? What your number is? I'm guessing you've got like 8 to 10.
Yeah, I think off the bat, just vaguely remembering, I think somewhere between 6 to 10 is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I would claim 400 plus podcast views, but I don't know if that's full podcast. So
yeah, that's
gotta keep myself honest.
That is the honor system one.
That is, yeah. We're not really checking those, so I suppose you could check it, and we'd never be the wiser. Yeah. This is the first time though on video.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It kind of feels like we're watching a YouTube video.
It does. It does. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot of fun stuff to ask you that we prepared.
I have no idea what this is about for the most part. So let's
well,
do it,
like
man.
all of our other ones, it's some pretty serious, hard hitting topics. So I hope you're ready.
Yeah. O.J. Simpson died today. Did you see that?
I did just see that, and I was thinking to myself, I'm wondering if people are gonna post like some memorandum type stuff or not. Like, what's
a sensitive one?
What's the thought there?
It's kind of a weird thing when someone like that dies. Like, what is the sentiment?
Are you saying because of his role in the Naked Gun movies? Is that
well, because if you're not a Buffalo Bills fan, or whatever team he played for,
yeah, right, Bills and 49ers.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I don't know if people are gonna be sad or happy.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's kick it off with this, since we're kind of talking about that. I assume O.J. Simpson won't be on the list, but as you know, from South Dakota, we're the Mount Rushmore state. You're familiar with that, and we occasionally have this game, the Mount Rushmore. So you're a bit of a jersey guy. You just had a YouTube video recently on a custom jersey you had made. So what's your Mount Rushmore of jerseys, either that you own or that you wish you owned? Your Mount Rushmore, who's on it? And color is probably important too. If you're saying it's a Michael Jordan 23 jersey, is it the red one or the black one, or what's on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, sure. So we sticking with a specific sport?
No, any sport.
You can do anything, I guess. Yeah, we know you have maybe a basketball bias, but it could be anything.
If I pull out like a rugby jersey or something.
Just rugby and soccer jerseys, and we're just let down.
Well, maybe not that, because it would not be very much fun if you chose rugby and soccer.
Yeah, so I'm probably pretty biased to some of the teams that I support. And what's interesting now is if people follow jerseys, which surprisingly there is like a subculture of like jersey logo design and type stuff. Like a lot of the retro designs have like come back. So like growing up in like the Northern Virginia, DC area, growing up, I was a big Baltimore fan, Orioles. And like for a while, they just had like a standard like bird logo, but they've since gone back to like the cartoon bird with like the panel hat with the white in the front and like the old school script. So like that's something that really resonates with me. I'm hoping that my Wizards, aka the Washington Bullets, also do the same. Like in the 70s, when they were last good, they had like a jersey design that was like a striped Bullets jersey with red, white, and blue, which I really liked. And their current jerseys kind of play off of that a little bit, but they're a little bit more modernized for my look. But if I had to go like all-time favorite jerseys, I would probably say like old school Denver Nuggets I liked. if you remember, like they had like it was
mountains
almost like
that
a
are,
rainbow.
yeah.
Yeah, the mountain, the city skyline, the rainbows, and that kind of same thought. The Houston Astros had that same design. They called it the Tequila Sunrise. Big fan of that type of look. So I think those are probably two right off of the bat. For the most part, I think you got to really appreciate some of the classic designs out there. So even though I cannot stand the Pittsburgh Steelers, I like that design. I like the black and yellow and like the very classic look that hasn't gone updated.
Understated.
You know, yeah, probably a little bit closer to you is like Green Bay, but I can't get behind the Wisconsin and the Green Bay look, but same thought process. So let me kind of take a step back because we've gone through a couple. Let's just go with current Orioles design, 70s Bullets design, Houston Astros Tequila Sunrise, Nuggets, and then do I have one more? Is there 4 or 5 on Mount Rushmore?
There's 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with those.
Okay. That's good. Are the Wizards, would that be what, if you're from Rhode Island, is that who you like? If someone was from Rhode Island, would that be their home team?
Celtics.
Okay. That makes sense.
So we're about an hour and a half south of Boston. So like my kids, they have Washington influence from their dad, but they like Boston teams mostly.
Okay.
It makes it easier for being a fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a lot better, that's for sure.
Who's your favorite Bullets or Wizards player of all time?
Of all time?
George Mirasan played for the Bullets, right?
Yeah, he did. You know, he's 7'7", number 77. And also, oddly enough,
Sean Bradley, did he also play for the Wizards or the Bullets? Okay, he didn't. Okay.
No, he played for
the two.
Yeah, Sixers, big, tall, white guys. But right. Yeah, so the interesting thing is like, if you take a look at some of the Wizard stuff, besides Murasan, they also had Manute Bull. If I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's really big, tall.
His kid is playing somewhere now, I think.
Bol?
Right?
Yeah, I think he's on.
Bol, yeah.
I want to say he's on Denver. But then also the Bullets also at a time when they had Manute Bull, they also had Muggsy Bogues. So he was like, you know.
I've seen the pictures.
Pictures of them lined.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a classic kind of Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bull picture. But if I had to pick a favorite, that's really tough. When I grew up, like when I really got into watching the Wizards, they had a really good team of like Chris Webber, Juwan Howard.
Yeah.
So I'm more for like Rasheed Wallace Bullets, even though he only played there for 1 year.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the slogan I used, "Bar Don't Lie," that's a playoff of Rasheed Wallace's "Ball Don't Lie." So even though we only had him for 1 year, still really like him. So I'd actually probably go Rasheed Wallace. I'll take someone who played there for 1 year. It's my favorite Bullet player of all time.
Okay. Also, MJ did play there for he had a hot cup of coffee there.
I can't stand Jordan. Number one, so let me get this off
and
my
Agent
chest.
Zero, Gilbert Arenas, I guess would be one other notable one. Yeah.
Jordan, when I was growing up, always beat our squads, so I didn't like him then. And then when he came to kind of be in the front office and ownership, he traded away a lot of our good players. When he came back to play for us, he also got rid of a lot of our young players, and I'm just not a Jordan guy.
What who is the center? Was it the Wizard or was it what center did they draft like number 1 as the overall pick that was a total bust?
Kwame Brown.
Yeah, Kwame Brown. Wasn't that a Michael Jordan decision or something then too?
Yeah, apparently it was a Jordan decision, but then I guess Jordan, if you read the stories, like basically ruined him by yelling at him the whole time and not giving him any confidence. And
yeah, I can picture that.
Long line of bad draft picks on our part.
Yeah.
So. Hey, but at least we're not Detroit. We're not the worst team in the league right now.
That's true.
1 game.
Yeah.
There's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Our Minnesota Timberwolves are good though.
Oh man.
Yeah. They just fell out of first place though last night. They lost to Denver, yeah.
So they're probably like a game back then, I suppose.
I have some friends that are hardcore Timberwolves fans, and they were telling me that earlier this year, it was like, I don't know, November, December, I think, that the T-Wolves had spent more time as the number 1 team in the West than they had in their entire franchise history, which was surprising. You would think during like the Garnett days and all those that they would have had some long streaks at number 1, but this year is the most time they've ever been at number 1.
Yeah, and they've been able to hold on pretty good. The Karl Anthony Towns has been hurt for quite a bit now, but between Gobert and Anthony Edwards, they're a good squad.
The beast.
Anthony Edwards is pretty fun right now. It'll be curious to see what happens with him over the coming years. If there's any possible way he just stays in Minnesota for a long time, that'd be pretty sweet. But
Yeah. I never thought I'd be on the Massenomics podcast talking basketball.
Tanner loves basketball. I don't know as much, but I do enjoy basketball. But Tanner knows the ins and outs.
There has been some talk that we have to play a one-on-one game, Brandon, at some point.
I've seen.
So
just go for his ankle.
I feel great about my chances, but you never. I don't know.
I haven't played competitive basketball in 20 years, so
I haven't played for a month or two now. So, are you 6'4", 6'3"?
I'm saying 6'3" these days. Yeah.
Okay.
I think in my playing days, I was listed at 6'5". I was probably 6'4", and now after I'm 43 right now, and all my snapback deadlifts and squats, 6'3" is a safer bet.
That might qualify as world's tallest power lifter. Like 6'3", 6'4" is, that's up there. There's not very many power lifters that tall.
Yeah, that's right. Outlive, not outlift. So,
that's our motto.
And that's like, I feel like someone should put some kind of shirt together that talks about like powerlifting champions and like certain ways to filter out being the best.
Yeah,
I mean,
the record holders. That's right.
Yeah, I wonder if someone could put that together.
We'll get our people on it.
Do you probably have seen that Tommy recently started his home gym, and we wanted to talk to you about that.
We may have exchanged messages even, Tanner. He may be intimately involved in this plan.
Yeah. So what I'm curious, and Tommy, I don't know if you need to rerun down the main pieces, but the first question I would have for Brandon is like, what does he think in his years of home gym experience? What in his opinion would be kind of the next couple items on your list? But what are your main things that you've got so far?
Okay.
Set up, Tommy.
Main things so far. I have a Bells of Steel Hydra Rack, 3x3, 5/8 inch. I have a rep 5200 bench. I have a Strength Co standard bar. I have recently acquired the Gungnir 1-inch adjustable dumbbells. Weights are on the way. I have the Rogue Matador and
Strength Co plates.
Oh, Strength Co plates, obviously. Yes, Strength Co plates, full set there. I think that's about it for right now.
You're in a garage and you've got a couple horse stall mats.
In a garage, got some horse stall mats too. Yes. So that would be the main highlights currently.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good solid base, right? So Bells of Steel rack, especially now the Hydra series being like American units of measure, freedom units, if you will, that'll adapt to pretty much anything you want. We did talk a little bit about those Gungnir pickups. That was a great find, but you had to get those standard weight plates, so you're gonna have some extra plates.
Yes.
Bench, good. Bar, good. I think if it were me, and I kind of went through that similar transition when I was in a garage for a little bit of time that we don't like to talk about, is like limited space and so equipment for me, it's big and bulky, takes up a lot of room, tends to be expensive. Whereas I think you can still get a lot of enjoyment and utility out of having other barbells. So obviously at the Massenomics gym, as I just saw in a recent gym tour video, you guys have tons of stuff, including your favorite bar, the Elite FTS SSB. To me, that'd be something like to look into, like some sort of specialty bar to break things up. Whether that be like an SSB, which would be my choice. That's like the first bar I usually recommend people outside of a normal barbell. Or if you just want to get fun with it and get like a deadlift bar or something like that, I think that would probably be the route I'd go. And then continue to do what you're doing, which is scour, Facebook Marketplace and look for good deals on stuff versus let me find something that's super expensive or, takes up a lot of room and you don't want to necessarily overcommit to just yet. So I would probably go specialty bar to kind of break things up and not take up any more space or set you back too much.
I like that. And that's Tanner and I talked about this offline a little bit yesterday, and that mirrors pretty closely.
We talked a lot about bars.
Actually, we did. Yes, we talked a lot about this. And that was basically the conclusion we came to. Texas Power Bars has been a long-time supporter of the show. I've always enjoyed their bars. I wouldn't mind getting a 29 millimeter Texas Power Bar. So we talked about that. And then, yes, the Elite FTS Safety Squat Bar has been our favorite specialty bar. So that also seemed like an easy fit. So that was also kind of the direction that I had on the wish list too. So that makes sense.
Yeah, because with that safety squat bar, like if you get like something to prop a leg up, you can do a lot of single leg movements. So that could hit like your quads versus getting like a leg extension machine. You could do stuff like Hatfield squats with that safety squat bar, walking lunges, you could use it to do what's those those presses, those like JM presses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you can get that bar, in addition to just giving you a different like stimulus for your normal squat work, you can do a lot of other things that would take the place potentially of a lot of other equipment. So
what brand SSB do you have now, Brandon?
So I have the Rep Fitness one.
Okay.
So I had the Elite FTS one. I ended up selling it when I got a Kabuki Transformer bar, and I found that I actually only really use the Transformer bar in the safety squat bar setting. And I like the safety squat bar better just because with the Kabuki, it has longer handles. It kind of just tended to get in the way a little bit. And Rep is hard to beat for the value with the free shipping and whatnot, and also just the build quality of their bars.
What does the Rep one run?
I want to say it's like right at 300.
Okay.
Now, depending on what you're looking at right now, Elite FTS recently was doing a sale on theirs for like 320 with free shipping.
Yeah, there were some guys saying that in the Discord that was the time to buy. I didn't jump on that yet, but
yeah, because otherwise it's like $4 something with shipping. It ends up being almost $500.
Damn.
And they've also have a new coating out. So there's like an all black coating. So the old bars, as you guys probably realize, with the clear coating would chip the first time you use it. So I haven't heard any negatives about the new coating. The only downside, if you go with that bar, which I'm sure you already know, is you need axle collars. It doesn't normally take just a regular collar. So it might be another thing you'd have to look into versus the Rep, which has standard collars on it.
Tanner, do Grant's special collars fit on that bar? Do you know, or are those still too big?
Yes, they do. That's what I use I use those on
Okay.
The SSB. They do
Good to
fit
know.
on there. That is what I use when because I've been cycling with the SSB right now, and that is what I use on there.
Yeah. If only someone made a Massenomics branded clip in that style. So.
If only.
Yes.
Like this, you bring me on and I'm just going to plug all your own stuff.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, Grant was talking about for the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic this summer. You know, that's when he brought the red Massenomics one. He had a little bit different idea for that this year. I won't spill the beans on it yet, but it could be something similar, but yeah, a different play on it. So that'll be exciting. But Brandon, Tommy, you mentioned the 29 millimeter Texas Power Bar. Brandon, didn't you have some sort of hand in that?
I had to do a lot of apologizing to my friends over at Texas Power Bars because I made a video a couple of years ago saying how like the Texas Power Bar isn't a real power bar because it's 28.5, which Buddy Caps made a video saying, a 0.5 millimeter doesn't make a big difference, which I would agree. But when you combine that with the standard, I know, right? We need every little bit we can get. But when you combine a standard or normal Texas Power Bar, which you guys know from having owned every single generation of one, you usually get those really fat, thick collars on it. So when you combine that with a thinner diameter shaft and you push the weights out further, you do tend to find a little bit more whip in those bars than normal. So luckily enough, Texas Power Bars and I linked up. They said, we saw your video, we hear you. We're going to give a 29 millimeter bar a go. We want to send you a prototype to test it out and give feedback, which they did. They sent their media crew over to film a bunch of stuff and then didn't hear from them for almost like a year. And I hadn't really told too many people about it. I think we might have talked a little bit about it like offline, just about some stuff that we were working on. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and release this information and put it out there and kind of put it in the people's hands. And I did. And a lot of people hit up Texas Power Bars. And then like 3 weeks later, it was official. It was released. And to my knowledge, it's been selling extremely well. So
I would wonder, and they would know these numbers and we don't know them, but I'm guessing to the retail market, that 29 millimeter Power Bar has crushed it. Like it's kind of the feeling I've got for them, that they've probably sold a lot of those 29 millimeter bars since they came out with it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think one of the things they wanted to do with that also is get in more meets. Now, obviously, they have a big presence when it comes to like powerlifting in like Texas related meets and whatnot. But these days, with everyone being so concerned with like IPF spec, this and that, like I think putting something out there that meets a lot of other needs introduced a newer generation of people to Texas Power Bar who might have written them off before as, a legacy brand or an outdated brand. And then you have those diehards that, of course, just love the 28.5 and the regular fat collars too. But I do think it helped them some. Although I will say, in their recent March Madness poll on their Instagram,
what won?
Deadlift bar won. Yeah,
I think that is the winner for me of their bars, though. If I think about Texas bars, especially if you're considering comparing them to other manufacturer of bars, the Texas deadlift bar is still the one that it's hard to find someone that really competes with exactly that. You know, I know the Kabuki deadlift bar like has come around in some meets, but it's almost just still a different thing.
It's just a more extreme product in a way, isn't it?
Right. So that's why I kind of agreed with the Texas deadlift bar. That made quite a bit of sense to me.
Yeah, I'd agree too. And the 29 had a tough go because it was matched up against the Texas deadlift bar early on, which I would have rather seen it gone head to head with the 28.5. But yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I have two deadlift bars, the Texas and the Kabuki, and I typically pull on a stiff bar just because I compete USAPL, which uses one, but the Texas gets more use than the Kabuki in my household.
So we talked about Tommy's, you know, what he should get next. I don't know if you watched any of our recent gym tour, but you're obviously pretty familiar with what we've got in there.
New stereo.
That was the takeaway. Yep.
Yeah, that is probably the highlight of this particular gym tour. It's what's made me the happiest, I think, over the last year. But is there anything that you can think of that you watched it and you're like, this is really what they should have, or what I saw
there's the gaping hole.
This is what or like what like that thing sucks. They really need to upgrade it with this. Like, was there any? Did you have any of those thoughts?
Yeah. So let me give you a real answer first, as I try to think of another one. But one thing that I noticed without you prepping me for this question, that it's funny because if you talk to pretty much anyone else, or you go on like the Garage Gym Reviews Facebook page and group, there's one common theme of piece or something for your gym that everybody talks about, which I don't think exists in your gym. Do you know what that is? Do you have any guesses? It's not necessarily a piece of equipment, but it's something that goes in a gym, in a home gym specifically. It's memed a lot, but not in your space from what I can tell.
I mean,
I can't
it sounds
think
like
of
you're
it.
saying reverse hyper, but there's a reverse hyper, so that's not that.
I feel like I'm going to know. Oh, is it like I don't know. I actually don't know. Is it gym floor related or something? I can't.
Stall mats.
Yeah, stall mats. Yeah, stall mats. So
you guys have a lot of bare concrete, which I get for this space. And obviously you have, looks like some, I don't know if it's stall mats, but you do have platforms obviously for your deadlift stuff. But like most people, you know, stall mats. So
we do have them in our dumbbell area. I have you know, some gyms like ours, they might just cover the entire thing in stall mats.
I've actually never thought of it that way, that you could potentially do that. That's never even crossed my mind before.
Right. It would be an undertaking in terms of
carrying.
Well, I mean, it would be semi-expensive. I wouldn't be that worried about that, but like more the work of it. But I don't know, Tommy, what do you think? Like, having been in that space, like, would it be better if all that open concrete area was stall mat area?
The idea of stall mats, from a functional standpoint, is to protect the concrete and equipment. And the main spot where I think protection is needed is in the dumbbell area. So it makes sense that they're there. The rest of that side of the gym is all machines. So stall mats, I guess it would just be aesthetic more than anything. The other side, though, the platforms, all the racks have platforms minus the half rack. The half rack is bare over there. So I could see potentially something for the half rack. Benches, I guess maybe from a grip standpoint, maybe you could make the argument, but I guess I don't think of it as a deficiency right now. I totally get the how people do bring it up a lot,
that before,
but that is interesting though. That's never actually crossed my mind, and that is a valid point though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for your space it's a necessity, and even for something that size, if you did go flooring route, it'd probably be rolled flooring anyway.
Right,
like you're not gonna do all those stall mats for that. But I just thought it's funny because most people are like, oh, you need stall mats, you need this. And,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's
the other thing that I noticed, or at least just stuck out to me, was considering the size of your space, it didn't seem like you guys, so like you have that one main Rogue monster rack, you know, the red rack that I seem to lift in, like, but that's like the only like real, what I would consider like real big rig or rack in the space, which is just a little bit surprising to me given the size of your overall space and how much other equipment you have, that you don't really have like any other big dedicated full-on racks.
Right. Well, and we do have two of those. They just look exactly the same.
Oh, okay. So maybe
so we do have two of those. Yeah, but so what we actually have, we have the two Rogue 6-post monster racks, and then we have the Rogue monster. I think it's called Collegiate.
The collegiate half rack, isn't it?
The collegiate half rack would be the other one. I don't know if they're like, I love the racks actually. Like I could have a gym that's almost just those. So I could definitely be on board with even having a third big 6-post rack of those. I don't know if we need it though, or not, you know.
I don't
like
think so either.
No. Right. But I am on board with that. And I do like those. I would like to actually have more of those. If we had additional space, that would probably be one of the first things. Some people would say a monolift, that's come up, and it's just not on my radar really as something that like it just takes up so much space and has so limited utility as far as what it could be used for.
Yeah, I did hear you guys talk about that, and that I think it was the call with Big Keith. You guys are talking monoliths and whatnot. I mean, you're talking a couple grand, and then even then, it's like safety is a potential issue. Like you can get straps and stuff, but you need more than one person to really operate it and use it, and it's just like takes up so much space. It's just like, why? Like, is it really that necessary?
No, I agree. What about then your gym? You kind of have everything, it feels like, and you have like really refined some things. I was even watching one of your recent videos and you were talking about, I mean, you talked about this specifically, like the 3 things that go into what is a requirement for you to even get anything else at this point. But do you have a wish list? Is there anything on your wish list right now? Or you kind of just feel like, I have it all? And if that's the case, is that a good feeling or a bad feeling?
The end of the road.
Right. So a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is just like, it's more tweaking than full on getting new equipment, which is good and bad. Good at that I'm getting to a place where I feel comfortable, bad where I rely on some of those stuff for tax write-offs at the end of the year. Like, oh, I spent all this money on equipment, got to write it off.
Right.
But interestingly enough, you can kind of see my white rack in the back. I actually just paid for a new rack that'll be coming in to replace that.
Can we take a guess here?
Sure.
Is Irwin Fitness high on the list, or
there it is, number 1 on the list? So basically the reason I'm looking to change out of this one, I mean, I love
and what is this one right now?
Is that Rogue or Rep, or what is that one?
Yeah, so it is a Rogue, what a lot of people will refer to as an RM5. So Rogue has actually come out now with an RML5, but it's the same general thought process where it's a 6-post rack, but the working portion in the front is 30 inches instead of a 43-inch depth of an RM6. So it's a little bit shorter up front.
Yeah.
It's like the mullet of racks. The back section is 24. So I like it a lot. But some things that I would potentially change, because as I mentioned already, you know, I use a lot of stiff bars for how I compete. And a 49-inch wide rack like this with very super thin collars and plates close, even if you have a really clean walkout, you do end up banging the uprights.
It's so hard to do. It's so hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And on like max, like if I'm going like a really heavy single, like it's either going to mess me up on my walkout because I'm hitting the rack, or I'm using so much energy to make sure I'm taking like 5,000 micro
Right. You're not even thinking about the
Yeah.
lift now. Yeah.
Right. That I wanted to go 47 inches. So I wanted to go in a little bit, which Irwin offers. Rep Fitness also offers that, but Rep's really big value prop to me is having integrated cable systems in their racks, which is really cool, but it's just not something I need because I have dedicated cable stuff already. And then with Irwin, they have some unique height options. So this rack here is a 90-inch height, and I think I could probably fit a little over 100. But that would get me kind of close to the joist. And if I were to do pull-ups, I'd hit my head. But Irwin offers a 96-inch rack height. And I just really like what Garth is doing over at Irwin. So it kind of made sense. So we're going to be getting a new one, new custom logo, all that kind of stuff. He's working on some newer stuff that's not on the site in terms of like storage options for the back, because I have a ton of like bumper plates on there, kettlebells and whatnot. So that is one change. And again, that's more of a tweak. It's not a necessity, but it's more of just like, I want it. And
same color scheme.
Same color, yeah.
Right.
If I went different color scheme now,
I was going to say you'd have like an angry mob after you.
Yeah. So that is one thing, and another thing is I'm currently looking at getting a custom combo rack in. So I've had a couple of combos in the past. Right now I have a GetRX one that I'm looking at the side. That's more like a budget option, but I'm looking to get one that's more, you know, custom color and a little bit custom branded. So that's still in play and to be determined a little bit.
Interesting. Wow, that's some big moves. I didn't think that the rack. I just assumed the rack was just set in stone. It is what it is forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like a lot of people like say they miss my blue rack that I had before this in my other home, and then like this one was just going to be a temporary garage one because it started as a normal RM3. And then when I moved into the basement here, my thought was I'd get something like a Sorinex Apex rack or a big, huge whatever. And I really like this one, and I've been able to expand it. And that's one of the nice things about like racks in general, especially if you get one like, Tommy just did, that's pretty standard in terms of sizing and bolts, is like, they're like adult Legos, right? You can build them out however you see fit. So it's been really helpful, but I'm just at a point now where part of me is also just stagnant, and I was like, I need to do something different. So
are you keeping the 30-inch depth? Is 30 still the number there?
Yeah, so 30-inch depth. The only real difference from Irwin to this is the back portion of storage. The Rogue uses 24 inches. Irwin uses 18 inches, I believe. Rep uses like 16 inches. So it's going to tighten up the back a little bit, which, so save me a couple inches off the back, if you will.
That, like your original blue one, that was an RM6, like would be the same as what we have, right? Or
it was a RML, so it was a Monster Light. RML
okay, that was a light. Okay, but like though, for ours the Monster 6. It's great for Massenomics gym, but I wouldn't want that in my home gym. Like that takes up. It's just a waste of space in a home gym, I think, too. Like, why would you want?
We've talked about this before I even considered a home gym. We talked about it multiple times. Tanner, you even said a few times, like, if I had a home gym, I might just throw a combo rack in because it's so light on space. It's just easy to manage. But I had always said before I even considered what I went here I was like, maybe I would just go with the half rack because it is so much more compact. But once I looked into it and realized, because mine's also the 30-inch depth, like getting that. Now when I go to the Massenomics gym and I see that full depth, that 6 posts with the full depth, and then the extra posts on the back, that thing takes up a footprint. It's a lot of space.
Yeah. I think, it depends, right? It depends on the space, depends on what you want out of it too. So like I'm in a bigger space here, so it can fit. But like if I turn around and look, I have probably 2,000 pounds of weights on that thing. I have 5 kettlebells. I have a set of dumbbells from 5 to 25 pounds on it. I have 6 pairs of chains on it. I have barbell storage on it. I have cable system hooked up to it with the Voltra things that are probably faded out. But I mean, you could have that in just that, or you could have, a half rack, but maybe you're going to want something else to add on to another space. So it just really depends on what the person wants.
How do you like those Voltra cable systems?
Oh my God. I'm very conflicted on those, right? So let me kind of set the standard here. Is I like them a lot more than I ever thought I would. The company had reached out to me for months on end saying, hey, we have these things. Can we send them to you? And I was like, no. Like just looking at them like, this is not going to be for me. I'm not interested. And finally they were like, look, we want to send them to you. You don't have to show them in a video. You don't have to do a video review. You don't have to be an affiliate. Just give us your feedback. So I got them in, and I'll be damned, they are fantastic. Like the action on them, if you will, is super smooth. They're super versatile. You can set those up to be chains. You can set them up to be bands. You can change the resistance curve on them. It tracks all your metrics. It has velocity built into it. They're awesome. The problem is just one of those units with a rack mount costs $2,500. I have 2. That's $5,000.
It's like a used car strapped onto your rack there.
They have batteries in them. And what happens to batteries after a couple of years? Die, right? So you could potentially, or a lot of it's software based, you could be left potentially with a brick.
Oof. Right.
Versus, you spend less that and get like a selectorized normal cable machine, and that'll potentially never go bad. So it's conflicting because I love it, but at the same time, it's almost impossible to recommend to most people.
Right. Yeah. That is a spendy unit there.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Is there anything, I mean, if you go to your old YouTube days, obviously you were training in the commercial gym before the home gym thing even started for you, before the basement thing, before you were Basement Brandon. Is there anything that you miss about training in a commercial gym?
I wouldn't say I miss it, but some things that I think people could miss is, and some people might actually want to get away from it, is like the social aspect of it. So like whenever I would go to the gym before, like I normally would go by myself, train by myself, get in, do my work and get out. But there's still like somewhat of a community there. Like you get to know the members, especially like in a space like yours, for example. where it's more of a private facility, but there's a big community aspect. And some people do better when they have, training partners, things like that. Like I'm usually, for the most part, alone in my basement 99% of the time. So that could be something that could be missed. There does come the odd timing when it's like, it would be nice to have like a machine that would do something versus having to set up a barbell with something, or, find a solution when, if I was in a commercial gym, I could do like a pec deck, for example. And here I'm stuck to dumbbells, which is okay, or I can use the Voltra machine, but still it's like, sometimes it's nice to have access to certain equipment or just get a different feel for things. But at the same time, I think having a home gym and spending money on stuff and getting nice quality equipment, a lot of like commercial type gyms I would go to, it's like, I like my gym better. Like I like the equipment better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of ruined me in that regard a little bit too.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I mean, you just said it there, but like if you were traveling or something, you go to another gym, I get this feeling with Massenomics gym because it is all the stuff I want. So I have all the stuff. Like there is no gym I go to that I like. If I used to have this feeling before Massenomics gym was what it is, I enjoyed traveling to go to other gyms because I was like, I can experience these other things that I don't normally get to have. But now I kind of feel like I have every single thing that I've ever wanted. So there's no gym I go to where I get that. I don't get
You're
that.
just like, they don't have this and this and this. My workout's screwed.
Dead inside.
Right.
Right. When so I don't travel as much for work anymore as I used to pre-pandemic, but when I do travel, one of the things I do try to do is visit other gyms. And it might not be because of the equipment. In some cases it is, because I know some gyms are fully decked out or have certain stuff, but from watching other people's YouTube channels or following them on Instagram, like seeing some of these gyms, which, like, to relate it back to a sports reference that we talked about before, like when I travel, I like to go see different stadiums and stuff like that, like go to different ballparks, arenas, same thing. Like I like to go to different gyms. So like when I was in Chicago, I went to Quad's gym where Eddie Cohn used to train.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm.
When I was out in California, I went to, Metroflex, LBC, where CT Fletcher was before he opened up his own space. So I still like to get in those other places, but a lot of times, like the equipment itself, it doesn't really do it for me anymore there.
You talked about it with those, can't remember the name of them, but the digital cable rack attachments. Yeah. How often do you turn down equipment that is offered to you? Whether it's offered to you specifically in exchange for something or just like offered to you in a ambiguous way. Like, do you regularly turn stuff down at this point?
Yeah, I'd say probably like 90% of the stuff that I get offered, I turn down. Recently got offered an opportunity with our friends over at Tonal.
But did that intrigue you at all though?
No, not really. So the way that I am now, like I said, because I have most of the things that I want or that I would use, like a lot of that stuff just isn't appealing. And I don't want to take something on where it's going to cause me more work potentially. Like I put out a video a week if I'm lucky these days on YouTube. And ideally, I would rather be focused on training than a review. And if it's not something, like, to go over my list that you referenced earlier, like if it's not something that's going to upgrade what I have, or it's not something that I think could like replace something or be in addition to how I train, there's no real point in me kind of pursuing that, because what's going to happen if I do a video or agree to it, I'm going to have to do a video and it's probably not going to be a positive video. So it's like, it doesn't help anybody here. It doesn't help the company. It doesn't help me. There's just no real point. And a lot of the stuff you get offered for free, it's not great stuff. It's like, imported copies of something else, low quality. Just, I don't want to associate myself with that kind of stuff. There's no need for it. It doesn't do me any good, and it doesn't do my audience any good to be associated with some of that stuff.
So along those lines, and you kind of said this with the Voltra, but has there been anything that you've taken lately that you were maybe hesitant towards, and then you got it and you're like, wow, I'm actually surprised what this product is?
So the Voltra would be the prime example of that. I think I'm pretty good at kind of figuring some stuff out. I'll give you an opposite example, something that I took on that I thought would be kind of cool that I haven't really used, and that's the eccentric K-box. So like the flywheel, I have a setup for that. And every time I post about it, I get tons of people asking questions or saying they love it, but it's just not something that I've been able to really kind of find a use for in how I train.
Yeah, I don't see how those would fit into anything I do. I've been like mildly curious when I see those, but I don't know. It's way outside
Yeah, I
of
think
what
if
I
you're
do.
doing like a lot of like high rep work and stuff like that, it could serve a use. But for like a power lifter type workout, and the way they convinced me, because I told them no for a long time too, is their CEO is like an IPF Masters champion who uses it. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. But it's just like I haven't really found a use outside of like an odd accessory here and there. And that's the thing with some of this equipment, that like if it's something that's going to take me a long time to like set up, it's probably not going to be something I'm going to want to do, because by the time I get to that in my training, like I've already done a bunch of barbell compounds. I've probably been training for like an hour, hour and a half, and I got shit to do. I don't want to take 20 minutes to set something up, take it apart, do all that kind of stuff. So things that you have to like build or be really kind of into in that regard just don't really float my boat.
Talking about your YouTube channel, do you know how many videos you've posted on YouTube?
I want to say it's probably around 1,300.
Yep.
And that's on this
what it-
channel.
Wow.
This is my second channel. So I had a channel before that I ended up getting demonetized like a year or so in, and I had like 6,000 subs, which
Like what
back
year is
in
this in?
2010.
Oh, 2010. Okay.
This is probably like 2010.
Yeah.
And I was like, 6,000 subs, a big audience. Like, I'm not losing this. Like, I'm
Right.
only making, $20 a month on YouTube anyways. Like, who cares about monetization? And then I grew that channel to be around like 35,000 subs, which was still really large at the time. But then that's when kind of everything came in with like AdSense and making revenue and getting sponsors. And I was like, I need to get paid for this. So I started a new channel from there. And unfortunately at the time deleted all those videos, which was probably another couple hundred, just because I was like, oh, they're not going to use them, or they're too cringy. Because that's when I was making videos with my shirts off, doing supplement reviews in my younger days.
Here we go.
Still holding on to what was left up here. I was like, no one needs to see this. So I regret not having some of those videos these days. But yeah, I've made a lot of content, and even sometimes like a video of mine will pop up or someone will comment on it. I'm like, I forgot I even made this video.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Like, out of 1,500, would there be some, if you went through them, you'd be like, what is this? I do not like, is there some that you could completely be like, I do not recall anything about this video?
Yeah. So, and depending on what the subject is, I can kind of tell where I was in my YouTube arc, so to say, because when I first started my channel, it was like supplement reviews. And then it started to get into other things regarding supplements. Like, I still remember I did a video on ectosterone, which is like basically like bug juice, it's called. Or I did that red deer velvet or whatever.
Antler spray.
There you go. Yeah, that. I did a video on that.
Right. It's
And
supposed
it's
to be like
like,
a
then I got
testosterone
into more,
booster or something. Yeah.
I got into nutrition. I got into like where I was doing like a bunch of training logs from when I was working with like Dan Green, or doing 531 or dog crap training, if anyone remembers those type of programs. And then eventually around 2015, when I built my home gym, that's when everything kind of shifted to just more equipment related stuff. But there's a ton of stuff I forget that I even did.
Yeah, that's interesting with that many videos. So do you have a YouTube button? Like, what's the first threshold to get a play button?
100,000 subs.
So where do you keep that? I've never noticed that in your gym before.
I'm looking off this way. There's like a corner of my gym that we just have a bunch of like big rubber totes that we throw all our shit in.
Okay.
It's in one of those, and it's not as nice of a button as they make today. So it's like
upgraded that.
It's like a cheap frame and a little silver button in between, and there's like a glass front to it. It's not like the solid piece that they do now, which is really nice. I'll try to find a picture and I'll send it to you on Instagram or something. But I think the frame like fell apart because it has like some cheap staples holding it together. But that was the initial kickoff.
Okay. So today on YouTube, this is Tommy and I both had a couple follow-up questions around this general idea, but so you kind of probably post what you want to on YouTube. Are there certain styles then that you do prefer? Do you not enjoy doing a review video as much? Would you rather do a training vlog? What do you like posting? What do you like creating, and what do you not like creating as much right now?
Yeah, so I do not consider myself a review channel. I know I get lumped into that because that's how a majority of I'd say probably my second half of, I think I have like 230,000 subscribers. I think I made my first 100,000 without doing a single equipment review, but the majority of the rest, the other 130,000 or so, has come since doing the reviews. And those are probably the more active channels or active viewers, I would say. So most people view me as an equipment reviewer, which I don't think I am, because I don't go out and just get anything that's new, right? Again, it's something that I need, I want, it's going to fit in my gym for the most part. So I'm not reviewing or talking about the latest stuff as it releases or anything like that. Oh, and I kind of forgot what the question was. Where am I going with this?
Like as far as the videos that you make now, are there
what
certain
do I
ones
like to
that,
make?
yeah, do you just
Content,
enjoy? Yeah, because you still put out a lot of videos. Are there certain types that you enjoy making more, or any that sometimes are there types that feel like work that you don't like as well? Like, how do you feel about it?
So I only make videos that I want to make. So if it's like work, then I probably won't do it, which is probably why like some of this stuff, like I need to make a video review on the Assault Air Runner that I've had for more than a year. I haven't done it because that's work. I don't feel like doing that. My ideal video would be like a training day video. So here's what I'm doing for training. And as part of that, I'll work in some other stuff. Maybe it's, oh, I'm using this bar or this piece of equipment. This is why I like it. Or let me talk about something else that kind of ties into just training, whether that be nutrition or supplementation or whatever, kind of like an all-encapsulating video, which I like to do because it's just me talking and sharing my thoughts as I make a video. The problem is though, if I'm trying to get people to view that, or someone wants to watch a video review, but it's a 3-minute segment on a 15-minute video that has a bunch of other stuff, then that kind of shoots myself in the foot.
Right.
So I've just kind of accepted that, because like YouTube for me is still something I just do for fun. The downside of that is making videos I want probably doesn't work well with the algorithm or getting more subs these days. So my channel is probably pretty stagnant, if not dead, in terms of growth. But that's okay, because the audience that I have and that I've kept, I find it to be pretty interactive. Like I don't have a Discord channel set up and stuff like that, but like the people that comment on my videos, like I feel like I know them because they've been watching and commenting for so long, and we kind of have discussions as part of that.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So with that, then I'm assuming you probably don't even pay like much attention to the analytics. I mean, you probably look at the analytics, but you're not like, oh, this didn't perform this way, I better change this on the next one. Like that's not a part of your plan at all then, is it?
Yeah, no. So I think I've had like the same like SEO words in my description for the past 9 years or something. It's like bodybuilding, gym, CrossFit, powerlifting, muscle. And then like back when I first started, and even for the first couple of years, like every day I'm on Social Blade. How many subs did I have today? How many views did I get per day?
Yeah.
These days, like the only way I know is because YouTube sends like a monthly recap of how you've done.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I know to keep up on it.
Okay.
Do you?
Which is nice. It's nice from a stress standpoint because I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you come from that perspective because you looked at it like it's not. It is like a hobby of yours, or it's like something you do because you enjoy. You're not like strictly in it trying to make that your sole career or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Don't get me wrong though. It does provide a good passive income and funds a lot of stuff here in the gym, but it's not something where I'm like, I got to make a video today because I need to make more money off of my content.
Right. Yep. That totally makes sense. What, okay, here's what I'm thinking. What are we more likely to see you at someday? The Arnold or the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic in Western Northeast South Dakota? Or for Keith's sake, I better include it. He'll be upset if I don't. Home Gym Con in French Lick, Indiana.
I've been getting some heat lately, some strays from Home Gym Con, I feel like.
Yes, I wondered that. Like, you probably do. People are like, why the hell aren't you coming? You know, like
I had this conversation with some people yesterday, actually. Here's my stance on that and just traveling in general, right? Like, I don't take a lot of paid time off of my real corporate job. I just don't. And when I do, it's typically like with the family, right? You guys both have families, you know how that goes. So trying to convince the wife to go to Columbus, Ohio in March or French Lick, Indiana in April. Or, I mean, obviously the sell of Northwest South Dakota is much more appealing to a lot of people.
It's at least something no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Right. It's a tough sell. And it's like, that's where my priority is. Like, I would like to go to those things, but it's not high on the list, if you will.
Yeah.
I think out of those, and no disrespect or shade, I think I'd like to go to the Arnold first. Just because
it's
like
an experience, of course,
Well, and also like I'm really into USAPL powerlifting. Like I follow other federations as well. I follow Powerlifting America, IPF, WRPF, some USPA stuff. Like I like powerlifting, so to be able to go and see one of those meets, like to me, like the Arnold is, besides maybe nationals, like the biggest meet for me in terms of like domestic meets I'd like to see. So that's one thing. And then I'd probably go like live hard, lift easy, live hard, lift hard, easy, hard, easy. It'd be like a Crew Falls meetup. It'd just be fun because like I said, like when I travel, I like to go to other gyms. So Massenomics gym is on the list. But also obviously I've been knowing you guys for a while, and there's a lot of other people that are part of the crew that I've known and got to talk to. So that would be fun. Like home gym con again for me. It's like, I'm not really in the market to buy shit. Like, it would be cool to see some of these things. And at least like, I think if for me to home gym con, the biggest draw would be, meet up with like Jake and all them from the Garage Gym Experiment, and maybe meet face to face with some of the people and companies that I've been working with. But like, I'm not interested in the equipment for the most part. It's just not something that's really interesting to me. And maybe that's surprising to some people because again, they view me as a reviewer. But it's just not a big draw for me.
You're going to just continue to have to take the heat from people like Keith on that one then.
Hey man, I mean, I'm not a big enough reviewer where I get people sponsoring me to go out there like some other guys I know.
That's what we are. An upstart, you could say a startup review business over here is what we got going on.
Just a couple of real young guys trying to take a crack at this thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Tommy, what do you think about over under? Is there anything else on the list that we want to
I say let's get this going.
Brandon, I feel like you're familiar with it at this point. You've played it a couple times with us, and the rules are relatively simple. You just have to remember you do have your druthers to elaborate as much or as little on each as you'd like, but you cannot ride the line. So we're looking for hard line in the sand political takes. I feel like that's the one thing your channel has been missing is enough political takes. So we're gonna try and draw that out of you.
All right, let's get to it.
You know what I love about watching someone on YouTube or anything else like that? I can watch them for 10 years like I have you and not know what their political takes are. That's the best thing in the world.
That makes you actually like respect a person more than the person that's like, all right, let's just get this out there. This is how I feel about this. Yeah. It's like, all right, man. Okay, I don't care.
I hope that's what people could say about us someday is like, I've listened to those guys for 5,000 hours talk about nothing, and I don't know what their actual any important opinions are.
They just tune in for the weather forecast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know how they feel about weather, but not much besides that.
What's the weather like in Rhode Island right now?
The last couple of days have been really nice. They've been like 60s. Today is kind of like overcast and rainy and probably low 50s. So it's not too bad.
How far are you from the ocean?
2 minutes.
Oh.
Like,
really? I didn't know that.
Is a Rhode Island beach day? Is that a thing? Do people do that?
I mean, it's not really, it's just normal life, I guess. I think we take it for granted. Like when I lived more landlocked, you'd be like, oh, we're going to the beach or the lake or whatever. And now it's like you drive by the beach wherever you go anyway. So it's just like, it's just there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but are there like big public beaches where on a nice summer day, there's lots of people out there?
No.
Oh.
I say that because we're in the Northeast. We're very tighty. So I belong to a beach club.
Oh.
What is a beach club?
What's that?
Is
it's
that
like a golf
that
country club kind of. Yeah, right.
It's like Malibu Sands from Saved by the Bell. It's like you pay, so you buy in. We have what's known as a bathhouse there, which is in reality like a 4x8 closet to throw all your shit in.
A bathhouse sounds like something like Roman times where there's like maybe sexual activities that go on inside of it.
It's all very ambiguous.
I was very let down when I found out the truth. Trust me. But it's basically like, and it's not cheap. So like bathhouses up here right now are going for like this particular place are going for like 150,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
We got in much cheaper before the price boom, thankfully. So we have a lot of equity in it. But you get in, and what it is, it's on the beach, but it has like a bar, restaurants. It has a pool there for the kids. So it has a bunch of stuff.
But then do you
So
actually
it's
have,
nice.
do you also have beach access though? Like they groom the beach and do that whole thing?
Yeah, so it's like a private beach there, and there's like town beaches, and there are state beaches, obviously. There's a lot of beaches here, but the beaches aren't like what I would consider nice. So they're like rocky or lots of seaweed. It's
Okay,
just
so
like,
it's not that white sand beach that you're getting in Florida. That's not a,
the state beaches are for the poor people, Tommy. Come on.
yes, the pores. Yes, I've heard about them.
Let them all. Let them all
I'm just joking.
pile up together.
Great
there.
beaches
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. What's the local university that you support and sometimes go to the games? Yeah.
Rams.
University of Rhode Island, buddy.
Okay. University of Rhode Island. So is that are they a Division I school, or what is University of Rhode Island?
Yeah, they're a Division I school. They play in the A10 conference.
Okay.
So like
They're not, they haven't
a lot
been
of
recruited into the SEC or anything yet.
no. I think we won like 11 games this year in basketball. We're going through a little bit of stuff on our end.
Yeah.
Football,
I
they're
mean, with everything going on, NIL deals and all that, everyone is.
everyone's refreshed. So we're considered a basketball school in the A10. Football, we're part of the FCS, whatever 1AA is called now. So we're like a step below the big boys.
Oh, so
Yes.
it's the same as our schools, that
Yes.
SDSU,
SDSU.
USD, North, NDSU. Yeah.
Yeah, college sports up here really aren't huge, right? So the other big school up here, big, is Providence College. So they play like Big East, but they're a small, Catholic school,
Well,
not very big.
so like how far, because that part of the country, like I can look at it on a map and identify states, but like how far is like Yukon from you?
Oh, UConn's pretty close, probably about 45 minutes away.
Oh, so I mean, you got to have a lot of Yukon fans in the area too then, don't you?
Yeah, but they suck.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Well, except at
So
basketball.
The head coach at UConn basketball came from the University of Rhode Island. He was here for 5 or 6 years.
they know how to
before,
make
And he
it there,
left
I
you
guess.
guys high and dry.
Yeah, now we suck. So Thanks.
Okay. All right.
thanks,
So
Dan
you-
Hurley.
Yeah. University of Rhode Island. All right. Okay. We got 5 topics. Let's do all 5, Tommy. You feel like doing
Let's
an
do it.
extra one? I feel none that need to get banished here. So overrated or underrated Hansu?
Oh, so I would say, you can probably, I don't know if you're going to crop this in the film, but I'm sitting next to all these nice
Mhm.
Hanson Power colored chrome calibrated powerlifting plates.
Those ones look really sweet.
They look
I
so
think I've
good.
really mostly only seen them from you, but the colored ones in particular look
With the
really
chrome,
sweet.
you're saying, right, Tanner?
Yeah, the colored.
yes.
Because do you also have just the all chrome ones, or
I do.
yeah? Well, I don't know if it's all, but the non-colored chrome ones.
Yep. Yeah. So I can't ride the line on this, but I'm going to explain it. So I think they're underrated in the fact that for what they offer at the price point they offer, I think it's hard to beat, especially when you take a look at like their power bars. They have a Bright Zinc power bar that goes on sale for like $215.
Oh, wow.
I would literally put it up in quality in terms of the build quality to like an Eleiko bar for like $1,000. The thing with them that gets people though is like they have a lot of value, right? The plate's great, the bar's great, the customer service and communicating with them, not the best. So like they are very hit or miss and intermittent when they respond to you. When they do, they work any problems out. If you have, great. But they don't do a very good job at communicating. And I've told them this, and especially if you order something, like shipping with them is just tough because you'll be like, where is it? And they'll be like, oh, we don't know. Okay. And then just one day it shows up. That part needs to be worked on. But I think overall as a value brand, considering the quality they offer, I would say they're underrated.
They're obviously also working on cool stuff. They're doing different, like those plates, they recognized where there's probably some people that would like to get their hands on something like that, and they came out with that. So that's smart on their part, I would say.
Their products, I think, all look super nice. I love those plates. I think those are some of the best looking plates. My least favorite part about the company, and this is someone that's never actually seen any of their stuff in person or touched it or anything, I just do not like it when companies use barbells and plates in their logo. And that's the part that's my least favorite part of them.
Let's see if I can do this without breaking my toe. Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That S from middle school that used to write on like
It's please everyone class please open your textbook to page 50 and then someone wrote that S inside the textbook. Yeah.
And then they're like, let's put a barbell on it too, so people know we sell barbell plates.
Yeah.
So very, very polarizing in terms of the logo. I know a lot of people are like, I love the plates, hate the logo, but I mean, again,
I like the name Hansu. I think that's cool. I don't like the logo.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that is shiny.
Oh.
Do you have to buy those in a set? Do they only sell those in a certain set?
So right now the colored chromes, you can only get them in like a 459 kg set, which is a lot. That's like seven reds,
right?
7 pairs of reds. So they're working on that for my understanding, because again, it's coming from overseas and it comes in a big crate, and their shipper was basically just putting the sets in a crate and they didn't ship individual plates. But I believe they're working on getting that resolved to order individual pairs.
And then what's that set cost? Is it like $4,000
I got it right here, $4,500.
Yeah.
The thing with them though too is like they will randomly have these huge sales where it knocks off a ton of money, or they'll have like these groupings of stuff where if you buy a set of plates, you get a free stainless steel power bar, which is like a $500 value. So it's like, you got to keep your eye out on that. Or you could also use code basement to save 5%, but I'm just saying 5% off $5,000. Come on.
Yeah. You can't afford not to use that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Pen to paper scenario there for sure. This is not a topic, but I actually thought about it earlier and forgot until just now. Kabuki, Duffin's company, do you have any speculation as to any changes going on there right now? Their site, they're not taking orders for the next 10 days, and maybe there's some ownership change, and they've done some things with Rogue lately.
Yeah, so I know Rudy is retiring and they've sold part of the business on his behalf. I know Chris unfortunately lost his mom this week, so I'm sure he's going through it. I'm not sure that coincides with each other, but still there's some stuff going on over there. If as of late they didn't just drop all their prices and say they have new in-house production, so like with the Oregon Power Bar and stuff, like if that didn't happen, I would say they're going strictly to like their education model, where they're doing a lot of these courses and classware and education versus producing equipment, because they had a lot of issues, I think, in their supply chain, but they've seemed to iron that out. So I'm not sure. Like from that teaser page, I want to say I saw an updated squat face on there too a little bit. So I'm not just sure if they're maybe going to rebrand and maybe consolidate some of their offerings or completely outsource. So I've really no idea what's going on over there.
Also, I suppose there's a thought that it's just a marketing. It seems odd. You say, I'm going to shut down our site for 10 days, but if nothing else, that builds
we're
intrigue
talking about it right
and interest. Now. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that's the only thing behind it, but like that's a thought also.
Yeah, I would, if I had to guess, I would say kind of an updated branding and maybe revamping of the site, because anyone who's ordered anything from them in the past, if you've looked at some of the spec sheets on their bars to what you actually get, they're like not right. Like the deadlift bar was initially advertised as 4 inches longer than it was. The Columbia Power Bar was advertised as not having center knurl. It had center knurl. So maybe they're just going through and doing a refresh. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, if they consolidated their menu some, so to say, to just focus on a key couple of products and then also push heavily the education and coaching side of the house.
Do you have the collars? The clips? Did you buy a pair of the Kabuki whatever?
Yeah, I don't remember what they're called. That company had reached out to me before that partnership.
Yeah.
To say, hey, we're doing this. Do you want some? And I think I said yes, and they never ended up sending them. But no, I do not have them.
I ordered them like right away because I just wanted to. I was intrigued by Duffin standing on 500 kilos of plates and jumping on it and them not falling. And
you actually have them now, Tanner?
Yeah, they have come in.
This is news to me. Okay.
Maybe we'll save it and do a review on those or something like that. And my initial thoughts are, I think that they probably will hold a ton of weight, but then that's maybe not also it's a balance of concerns with, a clip of like what I want it to do, and like also like ease of use and just other things. So I'm just not sure. Like it probably holds more than any of our other ones, but I'm not sure if that was a concern on the other ones, that we've been using regularly. So I don't know. It's
Yeah, and I have some of the clips I have this pair of clips from X Master. Terrible name. You search X Master and you get something else. If you know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying. If you don't try doing it. But if you search for X Master, don't do it. Yeah. But the clips, it's like literally, I think they might be tighter than my Rogue aluminum ones, which are usually like my go-to ones.
But
they're so tight to a point where it's like it's hard as shit to close them. It's like I don't want to use them just because they're so hard to clamp on a bar.
Mm-hmm.
So
my big thing on my initial take is, so in the gym we have every style clip that's ever been made probably, but we have some of these old ones that are just, the chrome collars that tighten down with a screw. And I put these on the rack next to those. And I think no one as is, if I leave them there, would ever grab them, or no one in the gym will ever use those because they look like those old crappy ones. They almost look, at first glance, they look exactly like it from a distance. So I think no one would ever grab them. And there is something, once you're used to like the style that Grant makes, or like the Rogue ones that we have, just the
little lever on it.
The little lever. It's really different to go back to than putting something on and then screwing it down. Even if it's only like you have it set right so it's only a quarter turn, it's just definitely different than what I am used to at this point.
Yeah, and I have competition style collars too. The big ones that weigh 5, and they're just more hassle than.
I never use ours of that.
The only time those come out in the gym is when people are getting ready for a meet, like the last month. They're like, all right, the calibrated collars are coming out,
and I just want to load it exactly like it's going to be loaded on the platform. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, overrated or underrated? The heavy duty neoprene sleeves that took the world by storm over the last year or two, however long it's been.
Yeah, so I want to say they're overrated, having owned almost all of them, and I still consistently use mine. But I think in general, it's more of a confidence thing than it is an actual performance thing, meaning that, back when I bought my first pair of knee sleeves, those bright blue Ray-Ban ones that they only sold in singles for some reason. So you went on Amazon like, $45 for knee sleeves. It sucks. Yeah. And only one showed up. You're like, I gotta buy 2.
Yeah.
Back then, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is like cheating. And then, things like Mark Bell sleeves came out, the SBD sleeves came out, and they're like, oh shit, these add like 10, 15 pounds. And then some of the somewhat stiffer versions came out, like another different pair of Mark Bell sleeves, like, oh, these add 10 or 15 pounds. And now it's like the stiff sleeves, these add 10 or 15 pounds. From point A to point C, you're 100 pounds now. You should be squatting more. Yeah. It's just like, to me, I think it's just they're tighter and more compressive. So people generally think, and also that they make it hard to walk if you size them right. They're just like, these things make my legs feel better. And in your mind, if you think you're stronger, you probably will be stronger. That placebo effect can be real. I don't doubt that they do add some more than a normal pair of knee sleeves, but to the extent that some people put like faith in them, I don't think that's true. And I think people just also have a bias based off of what they wear when they're doing certain lifts or completing certain lifts. Like if you talk to a lot of people in the IPF, they'll tell you SBD knee sleeves are the best, or the Eleiko $1,200 bare steel bar is the best, because that's what they've used and that's what they set their PRs on. That's what they're comfortable using. And if they're changing something, it's almost superstitious. If they change something out that they're not used to do something that could potentially lead to a failure, it's just their mind's not in it. And then again, the body's going to react based off of that. So I do think those stiff sleeves are mostly overrated, but they could still be a useful training tool.
Tommy, you don't have a pair of any of those style, do you?
Not the stiff ones. No, I mean, I'm of the mentality that it just feels like you're playing mind games with yourself after a while. Like you're just kind of, okay, if it is giving you 10 more pounds, you didn't actually get 10 pounds stronger, and I'm not a national level competitor. So it just feels like morally, it just feels like you're just playing games with yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, and when I recommend, when people ask me like what sleeves should I get, like I don't recommend them to most people. And if they ask me about them, I say like if you're looking to get the most out of your squat, then they will probably make sense. And luckily now there are some more affordable brands like Pioneers are only $75. There's a lifter who's going into to Powerlifting America who goes by Wheeze on Instagram, who has like they're called no name brand or no brand. He basically just, I think, just buys them on Alibaba and saves money by not putting his brand on them, and then resells them for, $70 as well. So they're more affordable than like the 150 or so the Inzers used to cost when they first came out. But for most people, like they're not going to be enjoyable because they're probably going to size them wrong where they're going to have to like end up cutting them off. Or they also chew up the back of your knees. Like my knees get like literal cuts on them from those sleeves that it doesn't make sense for just the majority of people lifting.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
You still have your original SBDs, don't you, Tanner?
Yes.
That's the only pair I've ever owned in my life. I bought one pair of SBDs, and I'm like, they're still going strong. I've had them 6 years, I think.
We do get criticized for our knee sleeve takes by people though that are more into the knee sleeve. They'll say like, you guys don't even wear knee sleeves half the time. So people be like, what do you people say, what do you know about knee sleeves? You're never wearing them.
You made a video on them, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. And then
so you're an expert.
Yeah.
It's on the internet. It's true.
Yes. Yeah, I like to talk about the heavy duty knee sleeves, and I've never put a pair on before.
Yeah,
so,
I've never even held a pair.
Yeah. Okay.
I might have to, when we'll link up after this, I will get you guys a pair of Pioneer knee sleeves on the house. On me.
Does Pioneer, do you have a code again for Pioneer as long as we're talking about it? I know they've changed.
I used it to buy some leather straps, $25 leather straps. So when you saw that check come in, I was definitely a part of that.
You're welcome.
A month ago.
That's right.
So you owe me. Just keep that in mind.
I'll get you some sleeves. I'll use that money to buy
that would be
sleeves.
even then. We would be even.
I bought like 10 belts from Pioneer a little bit ago, but it was in the period of time where they didn't, they had gone away from having that. Trust me, I was trying like everything. I'm like, maybe there's a glitch and they just don't advertise it. I was like, Basement, Untamed. I was trying all the old ones to see if anything was still on there, and they didn't have it. So
yeah, he took down the program for a little bit as they revamped it, and he's going through like an app or something now to make it, because he was doing everything basically by hand. Like I would get every month like a printout of every single like order and it's just too much work. So I don't blame him.
Okay, overrated or underrated Caitlin Clark? As long as we're talking basketball.
Oh man, how do I approach this?
Because she is pretty highly rated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say overrated.
Yeah.
And I gotta explain this one because this is tough, because she has done a fantastic job for women's basketball, bringing attention to the sport or whatever. But in a national championship game, when you go like 7 for 25.
Oh, and a lot of bad turnovers too.
Bad look. Yeah. And she was doing one of the things that I liked is early on in the tournament, I'm sure you guys probably saw there was a clip going on where she was complaining about fouls, and she looked into the stands and her dad was basically like, shut up.
She she whines at calls a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, she is a fantastic player, right? All time leading scorer, jacking it from the logo and all this stuff. But like at the end of the day, like if I was her teammate at sometimes, like I'm playing defense hard. All right, we got the rebound, I'm gonna run down. And like just when I'm getting there, she's jacking up a 3 from half court. And I'm like, oh shit. We gotta run back. I would say that. So I'm interested to see how she does next year in the WNBA. Like, again, a big fan. I think she did awesome. Like I watched and my boys watched. Like we tuned into those games, especially because like the championship game was on at 3:00 on a Sunday, which means my kids can watch
People
it versus
can
9:00 for us. Yeah, the men's game. So it's just great. But I just think overrated in a sense of like I could shoot it 30 times and score 20 points a game. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. I think it'd be hard to say underrated to answer her, as her as a topic. It would be hard. Although I think if you asked me that question last year, underrated would have been an easy answer. Right.
Yeah, the hype train wasn't going quite as hard as it was this last month here.
Okay. No, great answer. Last one. Overrated or underrated? Not regular mugs, but heavy mugs. Heavy mugs.
Yeah, so I own a heavy mug. I was
What do
sent
you-
one from
What do you own? What brand?
X-Master.
X-Master.
Okay.
X-Master.
That's the only one I've ever seen in person is the X-Master one.
Is that the one that
Yeah.
Mini Action Jesus
Yep,
had at
that is the one.
Arnold? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and there's the ones that come to mind, right, are obviously the Eleiko one, the Rogue one, the JD gym equipped one. I want to say those are the ones that come to mind most often for me. Those are, in my opinion, extremely overrated. As someone who has fallen into the hype train by buying 80s themed cartoon swords that are now maces. So like I have a He-Man sword that's like a swingable mace, a Thundercat sword, swingable mace.
Yeah.
I have the Oak Club. You can't see it. I have the Oak Club basketball attached.
I
rack
want
thing.
that. I really want that. And they don't
Collector's
they have
item
it-
now.
I know. If you ever want to get rid of that, let me know. I would be in the market to purchase that from you.
So I have fallen to the the hype train
Or
oftentimes.
Like
The heavy mugs.
$70 drink holders for your gym.
I got
know.
two.
Yeah.
Not the gold version, of course. But to me, it's like having something that's novel is one thing. Like I have a lot of stuff that's novel in my gym. Like I'm looking at my Texas Monster Squat Bar, 35 millimeter, 65 pounds. It's still usable though. Like those mugs for the most part aren't usable. I know a lot of companies out there are looking into making them more usable by, increasing the amount of actual liquid that it holds or making sure that it's like food grade stainless steel they're using. But I just don't see the point. It's like someone buys it just to have it and then it's going to sit on a desk or somewhere and not actually be used. Then it's overrated for sure.
It is shocking. I totally agree with you, but it is shocking. One of the guys helped out at our booth at the Arnold this year. He brought his X-Master one and had it just sitting on the booth table. The number of people that were either, "Oh my God, that's one of those heavy mugs," or asking what it was. It was it was as big of an icebreaker as anything that I saw at the Arnold.
But
Everyone
nobody asked if they could buy one.
No
from us, though.
no one did.
So like nobody wanted to buy it. Everyone just wanted to
Just
look at it.
and ask questions about it.
My takeaway from that is I know it's called the heavy mug and I know it was heavy, but still the first time I went to grab it, I was like, whoa, this is shockingly heavy. If I when I went to grab it in the way that you would actually grab a mug, that is what made me realize how unusable this was. You couldn't touch it to your mouth without potentially smashing your teeth in.
And you also don't realize that it has like a 4-ounce capacity.
It's a shot
not
glass
actually a
inside
mug.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would bore the hole big enough on it so you could stick it on a barbell or something. It'd be a funny gag to use it as like a landmine attachment. You have the handle built in, but
Right.
a little bit too small.
That's what she said. Good news. Looks like you passed overrated, underrated for the 3-time champ.
3P.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can stuff it in a box with your YouTube play button.
I'm putting this on my LinkedIn profile. 3-time member of the Massenomics podcast.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about the dude you're getting a Dell guy this time at all, but people can go back to I don't know. I think it's probably been 2 or 3 years since we've had you on the podcast.
I think I was on last year.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, that could be. We kind of lose track.
They
I do
all
know
kinda
that
blend together.
It's been a while.
It's been a while either way. Stain
I like it.
knows. Okay,
That
great.
that soundboard was totally worth the investment just for that.
Yeah, right there.
Just that alone.
They actually reached out to Tanner and said, we want to do a Massenomics edition. It'll just have that preloaded on the soundboard.
Yeah.
Every button is there.
So, what is your YouTube channel, and what if someone is buying equipment and they wanted to use one of your links? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Basement Brandon, and my goal in life is just to have code basement work at pretty much any site. So always try to give that a go, no matter what you're doing. There's other things that I'm partnered with companies where I have affiliate links, but those don't save you money. So you don't care about that. It's fine. I don't care either. But if you do have one of the things I always offer to people, and it's not a hassle at all, if you do have gym questions, equipment questions, just hit me up on Instagram or even a YouTube comment. One of my things that I probably need to see a doctor about is I have to respond to people. If someone writes me, I have to respond back. So if someone has a question, shoot me the question. I'll answer it. No problem. Or at least give you feedback, even if it's secondhand feedback saying like, I don't know, I haven't used it, but here's what I've heard. And I'll do that affiliate free as well. I won't solicit affiliates on that case.
You do really respond to just about everything, though, too, don't you?
I can also vouch for that. You've helped me you've at least provided feedback on several things so far on my short purchase list. So thank you for your help.
Yeah. It's like talking shop, and I have no friends, so it works out well.
I'm going to start really testing that theory and ask you just like really useless, annoying questions and be like, where is the limit here?
Another DM from Massenomics. Oh, God.
I welcome the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on again. This is a lot of fun, and I think people will enjoy it just like every time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brandon.
All right. See you, Brandon.
See ya.
Cool beans.
Those are basement cellar cooled, straight from the beach club. Cool beans.
Beach Club, fancy cool beans. When I play the Stained, it's been a while. How well can you hear that?
How well? Faintly. It doesn't.
Because I never know if the other person knows that I'm even playing there.
That's what I don't know if he's hearing the same thing I hear either. I mean, I would imagine he is, but you get the impression.
Would you know if you didn't know we did the Stained, it's been a while thing? Would you know that that's what I've even playing there?
Maybe. He's old enough that he knows that song. Like a younger person that maybe doesn't know that song, I wouldn't count on it. I would imagine he probably heard it well enough, though.
I wouldn't want to be the person that doesn't know Stained. It's been a while.
Tanner, you read the ad. I got to pee.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yep. This episode is brought to you by Juggernaut AI. Actually, we should have talked to Brandon a little bit more about Juggernaut AI because he historically has been a user, and I believe currently is a user of Juggernaut AI. He uses it, as he mentioned, he is a USAPL competitor, and he uses it to train for his meets and programs him right up to the meet. It goes through the different phases of training. If you want to start with what they call a bridge block, then that moves into hypertrophy training blocks, and then strength training blocks is kind of your core of the program. And at the very end of it, they color-coded in red would be your peak. So if you're a competitive power lifter, that's what leads you up that last 3, 4, or 5 weeks to actually competing and peaking you for the best ultimate 1 rep max numbers. Even if you're not a competitive power lifter, you're just say you're an at-home strength trainer that just wants to test those numbers of your squat, bench, and deadlift, Juggernaut AI would still be an awesome option for you. When you go sign up, make sure you go through the web browser. Just had someone ask me about it this week. Hey, how do I use the discount code? You actually have to go through the browser. It's juggernautai.app. That's where you get signed up. That's where you can use discount code Massenomics to save you 10%. Thank you, Juggernaut AI.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid-70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he'd ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of your own, visit texaspowerbars.com. And of note, it might be too late, but they have been running a sale lately where the bars are discounted pretty good, $50
like up to $50 off on a lot.
Yeah, it brings a lot of the standard bars like $250, which is a pretty damn good deal.
You and I were just looking at it and deciding what bars we needed.
Yeah, and Tanner's just trying to decide what Texas Power Bar he needs. He already has one of all of them. He actually has 2 or 3 of most of them, and he still was like, I kind of got to take advantage of this.
I just need more of these.
Yeah, so hop on over to TexasPowerBars.com. When you order, make sure you tell Massenomics sent you to, let them know we sent you. Thank you, Texas Power Bars. Wow. Okay, love catching up with Brandon. That was great. But we also still have a lot to cover here, Tanner. I don't know if you're aware of that.
We do have a lot to cover. We do have a lot to cover.
I have several things. First, I have a sack. Can I?
Yeah, let's take a peek inside that.
Unleash the sack on you?
Loving to see. You've been holding it in for way too long, it feels like.
I've been holding this in. So this package showed up at my house yesterday, unannounced. I had no idea what it was.
All right.
I thought I kind of recognized the address. but I had no idea what was inside. Are you ready for this, Tanner?
Oh, let it out. Let it all out. Hold nothing back. We can't hold anything back now, actually.
Here we go.
Oh, oh, hello. Are those from California or South Carolina?
Neither. We're talking Middle America, baby. So what
so
I'm holding,
somebody that owns a pair.
Yeah. So what I'm holding here is the red special edition Massenomics Strength Co collars.
Yeah.
And I had always said,
who ponied theirs up?
Well, and I'd always said I'd wanted a pair. Well, when these were for sale last year, they were really cool, but there just was no point in me having a set of collars. I have so much Massenomics stuff that if it's something that I can't feasibly use, I get a little more selective about it. And people wanted them, they were buying them. So to me, it didn't make sense to withhold a pair of collars from someone that would like them. And so I never got them. Now that I have a home gym, I really miss them. I really wish, especially that red is one of the colors of the gym. And this is what came in a little box. This picture was in the box with it, Tanner. I'm not sure if you can. I'll hold this in front of the webcam.
Oh, yeah. They're being cleaned with alcohol, yeah.
Yep, and the person has rubber gloves on.
So they prepped them for you. Yeah.
So they're showing that they're not having skin contact with these collars.
Oh, God, I know who it's from.
The note says,
I do not trust him. Did you just touch those? That is a trap.
Yep. So
He's
the
doing
box,
the Space Jam transfer thing through the collars. I know it. I do not trust him for a second. That picture is all a part of the trap.
So, yes, this box did come from Iowa, which gave me a hint as to who it was coming from. The note says, Big Tommy, congrats on joining the garage gym life, parentheses, and not that basement gym nonsense. I found these hanging out in my garage and thought you could put them to good use. Don't worry, these have been sanitized and packed using the utmost care. Enjoy. And that would be Big Ryan out of Iowa. So he hooked it up. Thank you, Ryan. I am so grateful for these. I really had no idea what was in this box, and this genuinely caught me by surprise, and I'm very grateful to have these. So thank you for sharing that.
Great of him to send you those collars and his communicable injury diseases all in one.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to go have an RP10 bench day after this. I'm a little...
And Ryan's sitting there, ooh,
knock on
little
wood.
Thing does he know? Yeah. That's good. That's funny.
Yes, so I'm pumped for that. So that's one equipment thing. I also have another equipment update. My dumbbells. People had been, or I'd been talking about for a while how I got to figure out a dumbbell thing. And I was kind of taking my time, but also at the same time now I'm like, well, I'm getting close to a month in on this. I would like to have some dumbbells. I got to make up my mind on something here. And out of nowhere, on Facebook Marketplace, these Gun Gear 1-inch adjustable dumbbell handles popped up. So it's not the big Olympic size adjustable dumbbell. They make a smaller one that is a 1-inch one. Takes 1-inch plates, which is the downside. But these were what I would consider a pretty smoking deal. It was under $100 for the pair, and
couldn't afford not to.
Even if I wasn't going to use them, I just
almost couldn't afford not.
I couldn't afford not to.
Considered buying those if they were in Aberdeen, just like even though I have no use.
Well, and they were just
I actually can't afford not to.
Yes, they were just down the road. They weren't in Sioux Falls, but they were just down the road. I reached out to the seller, and he even offered to drive closer. So I do got to give props to Big Darren. Big Darren was the guy selling these. We had guesses as to the story of these. You know, I messaged you, Tanner. I'm like, all right, we were talking about it. I'm like, should I do this? And you basically said that, like, can't afford not to do these. And what was of interest is in the picture where he was selling these, there was a little home gym or Reddit home gym sticker. And you go, I bet he won those in a contest. Yeah. And so I met Darren, and first of all, he was familiar with Massenomics. He owned I think he said 8-bit powerlifting flag. Oh, I should have brought this up. He's like, I bought one of the runs of the Basement Brandon banners when you did those. I should have brought that up to Brandon. But so he was familiar with us. He's followed what we do. He said, I check out the podcast every once in a while too. So I know what's going on there. And he said, actually, when you messaged me, I was like, is this really the guy messaging me here? And I asked him how he got him. And yes, that is how he got him. He won him in a home gym or home gym competition giveaway there. So he said he's been sitting on them for about 2 years, and he's just never seen 1-inch plates pop up. So he decided it was time to part with them. And I said, oh, don't worry, I'll take good care of these bad boys for you. So
yes. So you don't have plates yet, so you haven't used them.
No, plates are on the way. Plates will be here next week. So
it is funny, like less than a week after you did that.
Yes.
My next door neighbor, 4 houses down from me, literally, that I talked to, had a set of dumbbells for sale on the internet for $250, and it was like
the
20s,
set I would
30s,
want
40s.
too.
Yeah, it was like it was a good variety.
Yeah.
And like they're not fancy. They're just the
The hex ones.
The
But
hex
so
ones,
many of the sets though that you look at, first of all, most people charge way too much. They don't
right.
get.
Oh, this was a good price.
It was a good price,
too.
but then a lot of the sets, it's like a 5 through 30 pound set. Which is like, I don't really want a 5, a 10, a 15. Like
this
20s.
was a pretty good variety where
Yeah.
it's even like where it had like the 20, 30, 40s, and then it also had like 80s and like
Was there like a 50 in there too? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought if there was a
right.
set that could pop up, that was the one.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'd already bottled this stuff for the adjustable ones. So,
Right.
yeah, I had to pass on it. But this, yeah, that was a hot deal. That was your neighbor had. I would have taken that any other day of the.
Right.
Any other day of my life, I would have taken that, but I had just pulled
And
the
there's
trigger on these.
literally like on my like a neighbor that I actually talk to and like, and I'm like, what are the odds of that? You know?
So yeah, I'm gonna give these a try. These adjustable ones. I'll have the 1 inch weights. 1 inch weights aren't terrible on. I just bought a bunch on Amazon.
Yeah.
I have it set up so I could do like I think 60 pounds per dumbbell, something like that.
Yeah.
End up spending a little over $100. So all in, I'm still doing good. I'm not.
Well, I also found some of those after you purchased those. Too.
You did
have
too,
some of those.
yeah.
Not like what would have
Been the most
made,
visually
like, not
appealing.
enough,
Yeah.
but right. Well, yeah, it wouldn't look good or really technically be enough. So then you still would have had to buy some. But I did then find some of those too.
Yeah. But in the scheme of things, this is a very minor amount of money to now
Right.
basically have dumbbells that I can do 5 through like 50-ish pounds, or if I wanted to
Right.
load one up really heavy, I could. So I got some options now.
Yeah. So have you been scouring Facebook Marketplace then? Or?
So what I was going to say about Facebook Market is in my entire life, I've maybe clicked on that market tab of Facebook 10 times ever.
that
And
sounds like a day, an average day for me.
so that has, I was going to say that's very much become part of my daily routine.
Facebook Marketplace is an addiction.
Well,
I think,
what I would like
actually.
to compare it to, not a lot of people go fishing anymore. Fishing, I feel like used to be a real old timey pastime. A lot of people did it. Actually, where we live in our part of the country, fishing is still a popular pastime. But with kids going on and all that stuff, you can't go fishing as much anymore. Man, this feels like this is the modern day version of fishing.
When you
go
reel in a
out,
good one,
you
you're like,
throw out your
yeah.
you throw out your reel and say, "What am I going to catch today?" And like, what really got me is to be like 3 days into this Facebook Marketplace and find these Gungnir adjustable dumbbells like right away. I'm like, oh man, I am hooked. I got to go like hop on there every day and see what I'm going to find.
Yeah. Well, then the fact that you did find those for like $70 does make you think, well, I can't afford to miss the next thing.
I know.
Because the next thing, it's only going to be up there for one day. So if I don't see it, then I don't get.
And
to,
that was already the thing. This was up for a day, and I messaged him. And while I'm messaging him, he's like, "Yep, I got you down." And then like an hour later, he's like, "Just making sure," because someone else is already asking about it.
Yep.
So it is. I totally get how people get into that now. The addiction.
There's a decent bit of, because I check all the time, and I don't even search for anything anymore. My Marketplace is just caters to you.
it
after a
knows
while.
what you're looking for.
So I just have to browse Marketplace, and it shows me everything about an old pickup and everything about a gym equipment that could ever pop up. And like Sioux Falls does get a decent bit of used gym equipment, and
They
like
do.
real, like not just crap.
Yeah, there
like it's
are-
not all the time,
But within
there's like
an hour of Sioux Falls,
Yeah.
I mean, I think even right now there's multiple Rogue racks on there.
yeah,
there's
there'll be like Texas power bars that pop up, and like there's be legit stuff that comes up on there.
There is. So yeah, and that makes it convenient that it's just a short drive or even a local pickup if I want to do some of the stuff. But I am in the boat where I am being, if I didn't have that Massenomics gym exposure, I probably would be saying yes to a lot more things. But now that I've used a good chunk of the stuff and I know what I really like and what is so to me, I am going to be super selective here.
Right. I do. I love Facebook Marketplace. If it wasn't for Massenomics and Facebook Marketplace, I don't think I would have Facebook. But Facebook Marketplace, I was like, I couldn't afford not to have Facebook for face. Like that is the buy, sell, trade. Like it. I mean, I don't think I mean, we've talked about this before, but what's the old one? Craigslist. Like it has to just be dead in the water. Like, why would you
just
go to
not a
that
lot of-
cumbersome old site when you can just,
Yeah, not a
It's
lot
just
of
up
action there. I mean, there still probably is stuff that pops up, but
No.
it's just, doesn't feel as good.
No. And a lot of times I don't like all the algorithm stuff, but sometimes it's like, I do like that they just know what to show me in this instance where I'm like, and they do hit pretty well where they're like, nope, this guy wants to see gym equipment. So they
Well, like right here,
know to show me the
I'm
gym
looking
equipment.
just today. There was a Rogue trap bar listed in Sioux Falls. It's like I
Yep.
could go pick that up and have that right now. You know,
How much do they want for that?
$385.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good deal or
See,
not, but
That's the
yeah.
thing is a lot of these aren't a great deal. I guess you're like
Right.
saving on shipping technically, but way too many people.
You need more savings than that. Is not the appropriate price to sell something.
No,
at.
it's
Just
a lot of
let
these
me
people are
just
like,
shave the
okay, I
shipping
bought
off.
this and I'm taking it down 10%. I'm like,
No, that's
not
not
sure.
the used market.
And like, here's just right now. Oh, this was listed a week ago in Brookings. It's a Rogue Monster RM4 90-inch rack. It's like
Right.
they want $1,300 for that, and I'm like, that's
See,
yeah.
I
like,
just
I
want
like
to
this
browse
here.
Facebook Marketplace while we're on the podcast, even
Yeah,
to
I
see if
know.
there's any good deals we're missing.
But they have a Matador, some storage. It's like okay, the whole thing new would be $2,100. It says, and they want. It just I don't think some of these deals are aggressive enough.
No, right. I agree. I noticed that a lot. But you can, the ones that are good, you have to.
They
act
go
fast.
fast.
Though,
They do.
because-
Like there's a
right,
reason.
right.
Like this stuff.
Price to sell. Know what I've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like maybe. Like I get it. It's cheaper than what you bought it at, but the price doesn't reflect used.
I will not respond to is this still available? If it is up, it is available because I sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace too. I have a few things for sale right now. Everyone, is this still available? Like I'm like, I just like yes.
That's
It's
why
on
it's
market
on
as
here.
sold when it's sold. Yes, it is still available.
That's like the icebreaker is like, hey, can I buy
yeah.
this?
Yeah, so I'm like, yes, come buy it. All right. So the home gym is alive and well and growing, and make sure to check it out on YouTube. I think should we say maybe we'll save my coffee hot take for
Okay.
for next week. We'll let it cool down a little bit. It's a little
right.
too hot still.
Yeah, it
This,
is a little too fresh.
This hot take on the coffee is a little too hot. I think it needs a week to week to cool down on this. You had home gym updates and wish list.
We can wait on that because
Okay.
we're sort of going to do a video about that today, anyways.
Right.
So that'll just
So
go
we'll be
into
able to
next week.
kind of
We'll do
recap the video
yeah.
and talk more about that too, and the maestro. We'll continue to sit on the maestro.
Keep stringing that one out.
Yeah, we do have Thursday this week, April 18th. Really big stuff.
The world is
Big
forever
stuff.
changed.
Big stuff. Do not miss out on April 18th. There's something. It's big. It's really big. It's one of the biggest things we've done. So, if size is the prize, you're going to enjoy this one. Then we've also been starting to work on more Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic, July 20th, 2024 in Western Northeast South Dakota. We've been hammering out more details for that. I think it's only going to continue to get bigger and better and greater. So make your plans to be here this summer. And then it is tax return season. Please head over to Massenomics.com and spend as much of that money as possible on our site.
I was thinking this was the perfect business plan. You sell something to someone, they give you your money. I'm holding these collars right now. Ryan fell for it.
They send it back to you.
We sell it to them. We take their money. We play the long game and let them send it back to us.
Yes.
That's the business I'm in.
Could everyone please send back all the stuff that you've ever sent us, and we will resell it.
We will either keep it or resell it.
Yeah. We do have good inventory of quite a bit of stuff on our site, so make sure to check out tees, drink spotters. Sold our last hat. Have no hats right now, so
Wow.
finally don't have to worry about anyone buying those. We do have just a few beanies left, though, a few stocking hats, a few toques. So check out our toque selection. There's still a couple in there. I do want to make sure to let everyone know to head over and check out the Strength Co. Though it's thestrength.co. Talked about the Strength Co. plates with Brandon. I don't know if we talked about enough though that he actually does have a pretty good collection of Strength Co. plates himself.
He does. He had a picture posted the other day, and God, it looks like a museum with all the plates
that's-
loaded up.
Well, and I think in our conversation, and if you've ever followed Brandon and looked at his stuff, he has a discerning eye for visually pleasing and still high utility gym items. So it's no surprise that he goes to the Strength Co. when he needs made in America iron plates. No surprise at all. It's where we go. It's where a growing number of Massenomics listeners go when they need plates. So whether you got a home gym, a commercial gym, or a semi-club oddity gym like Massenomics Gym for the one other person listening that might have that, go to thestrength.co. let them know Massenomics sent you. You can also get bumper plates while you're there. You can get collars like Tommy was showing off. If you're interested in those collars, not those red ones, but they have black Strength Co. ones you can get there. Also, they got a selection of tees and etc. And check out the OK Podcast.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Swisslink. Since 1995, Swisslink has been importing military-issue goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Swisslink.com is home to the authentic Wavian fuel cans. They're made from the same factory that has been making the so-called jerry cans for the NATO forces since the 40s. They're made with 0.9 millimeters of cold-rolled steel, and Wavians are the highest quality gas cans on the market today. Swisslink has also decided that a high-quality water can was needed as well, so they developed a stainless steel option to match. It fits all your Wavian jerry can holders and is made from food-grade 304 stainless steel, so you can trust it to carry your drinking water. Take that, heavy mug. This is another option to Swisslink's exceptional collection and their dedication to quality customer service. Enjoy a 15% discount. That's 15% discount on your next purchase at Swisslink.com by entering code MASS at checkout. Code MASS, M-A-S-S, save you 15% at Swisslink.com. Thank you, Swisslink.
And of course, we have to mention, I would love to mention our supporting member segment. If you're interested in becoming a supporting member, you could make it in on this segment. We like to give back every week to some of the people that choose to support Massenomics and our podcast. We do it through this segment, like I said, but also you get access to our exclusive Discord community. It's the only way you get in on the Massenomics Discord. There's a discount code there that's exclusive to supporting members. Several perks, like you get... we send out a few things a year that only go out to our supporting members at no additional cost. So we'd love to have you sign up. We have been having some new members come in. I love seeing every new supporting member. There's several levels and options of affordability there. So please, if you're a listener, consider joining our supporting member crew. We'd love to have you. And this week I want to shout out none other than Big Tyler Thompson. He got third place at South Carolina's Strongest Man and qualified for nationals. Events included he pulled 795 pounds on the axle, on a stiff old axle. So Big Tyler Thompson, not one to be trifled with in the terms of strength there, is he?
No.
We had Big Lou competed at the Ghost Clash, and it was there on meet day for Big Lou. We talked to him hoping it would be on there on meet day. It was. He went 9 for 9 in sleeves, finishing with his best total ever, 10 pounds over his best wrapped total ever even. He did it in sleeves.
Lou.
So Miami Lou did not disappoint either, did he? They don't call him Miami Lou for no reason. That's his new name is Miami Lou. And then we had Big Garrett, South Dakota man. He lifted at the 2024 Ryan Hanks Liftathon for South Dakota Special Olympics. I think he's also one of the organizers of that event. He got a PR on all three lifts, hitting a 405 squat, 225 bench, 510-pound deadlift, and they raised a bunch of money to support the South Dakota Special Olympics. Massenomics we donated some stuff for that. We donate every year. So thank you and shout out to him for, setting that up, that event up in South Dakota. That's cool. Coincidentally, Big Garrett just got in for the Lift Hard Live Easy Classic. He was on the wait list and just got signed up. And we know Big Tyler Thompson's in for the Strongman, and Big Lou is going to be there.
Just say there's going to be some strong people around.
Yes. This week's guest on Unpaid and Underrated was Big Chris Mark, the man with two first names. He's also signed up for the Lift Hard Live Easy Strongman. And then with our most recent two additions to the Massenomics Hall of Fame, which you have to be a supporting member to make it in, are Eddie Woodard and Jake the Snake Heinreich, both making it into the Hall of Fame. So welcome.
Congrats,
to
gentlemen.
the Hall of Fame, gentlemen. It's a very exclusive club still, so people are not... We didn't know exactly what the numbers would be like, but I think we've still only got 13 people in the 12 Achievement Hall of Fame at this point. So make sure if you are a supporting member, we've sent out your Hall of Fame cards. See how many you got on the list and let us know if you hit 12, or you could be the first person to hit that elusive 15 and get your maybe a little mystery prize to go along with that. Let's wrap this sumbitch up. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird. You can follow Massenomics at Massenomics. But everyone, just please remember to stay safe down there.